ABC Sports Championship Television.
Today on ABC Sports, some of the game's biggest stars take center stage. When Wisconsin meets Ohio State, all eyes will be on Maurice Clarett, the most exciting freshman running back since Herschel Walker. The Cyclones storming through the Big 12 has been Iowa State's quarterback Seneca Wallace. Today he blows into Norman, looking to upend the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooner.
Cold, windy, and wet at Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. The top team in the North against the #1 team in the South in this Big 12 battle, both riding 6-game winning streaks. The defense of Oklahoma, one of the best in college football in every category. They'll have to be at their best today because, as John and Terry talked about, one of the most dangerous players in college football is on the scene. He's the Heisman Trophy leader at the midway point of the season, Seneca Wallace. And today, two old friends get set to do battle. Dan McCarney and Bob Stoops. The Cyclones and the Sooners are next. They're the Big 12's biggest surprise. Iowa State, led by their fiery head coach, have moved to their loftiest national ranking ever. At the season's midway point, the Heisman Trophy's pointing towards Ames as well. Seneca Wallace has been nothing short of sensational, and the Cyclones have dumped all but one opponent so far. Today, the trail turns south toward Norman, where the nation's hardest-hitting defense lays in wait. Fresh from unhooking the horns in Dallas, Oklahoma has started to hit their stride, looking more and more like the champions they were just 2 years ago. Could another title come sooner than expected? The preseason experts picked Iowa State to finish 4th in the Northern Division. How wrong they have been so far. They come in perfect at 3-0. And today they're on the road. A tough place to play, as always, in Norman, Oklahoma, where the Sooners have run off 6 straight victories and are now the #2 team in the country. So that's a matchup today, everybody. The North against the South. We welcome you to Norman. It's cold, it's windy, it's wet. The Sooners are just coming out of the tunnel right now, and you can hear the crowd because they know that this team is starting possibly to hit its stride. 2-0 to lead the Big 12 South, and of course coming off the Red River Shootout, an impressive win, especially their second-half performance against Texas last week. The Big 12 has been shaken up again today. Oklahoma State has beaten Nebraska. Is that a shock? Maybe not. They win by a field goal. Texas A&M is blanking Kansas. Colorado is another team that looks like they're starting to hit their stride. And Texas, Kansas State, and Missouri, Texas Tech are a little bit later on. Brad Nessler and Bob Greasy along with you. This is an important game for both these teams. They have both won 6 straight ball games. Not surprising probably for Oklahoma, very much so for the Iowa State Cyclones. They're that close to being 7-0, actually more like a yard from being 7-0. They lost to Florida State in the Eddie Robinson Classic. Bob, they're 6-1 and almost 7-0 because they have good football players and good coaching, but they have one special football player.
Seneca Wallace, in my opinion, the top playmaker in all of college football. This is a play from last week. They call it the run. Seneca is a quarterback. He prefers to stay in the pocket. He doesn't like to scramble. In fact, he has only 30 yards rushing on average per game this year. And in my opinion, for him to win this ball game today, he's got to get out of the pocket, use his legs, scramble, and not run. Not only does he have to be the leading passer for Iowa State, he has to be their leading rusher.
All right, well, the leading rusher for Oklahoma is Quentin Griffin. He's coming off a career-high game against the Longhorns down in Dallas. But still, you know they're going to load up against him and force Nate Hibble to try to win the ball game. On the other side of things, if you got to stop Seneca Wallace, this is a pretty good group to try to do it on defense.
Well, this defense, you know, they won a championship 2 years ago with outstanding defense. This defense is almost as good. They've got All-Americans at several different positions. The strength of this defense is their front 7, and Teddy Lehman, a sprinter in high school, is the strength of that defense. This defense has speed, and they'll need that speed today to stop Seneca Wallace.
I hope Swanee can hear me. He's the third man in our team. Let's head to the field to Lynn Swan.
Thank you. It is loud. I'm here with head coach Dan McCarney. Best start since 1938. What was the message you delivered to this ball club before they took the field?
Now, I want these kids to embrace this opportunity, Lynn. Just play with a relentless dedication to one another and enjoy the moment. This is a great opportunity for our football team.
You're facing one of the top defenses in the country. Seneca Wallace is a great leader. Will he have to do more today to give you a chance to win?
Well, we want him to play within the system, but do his thing. We're going to have to give him an opportunity with our protection and hopefully get a little bit of running game going as hard as it is against this defense.
Coach, good luck to you.
Thanks a lot, Lynn.
They're looking forward to it, Brad.
Maybe there are no two other coaches in college football whose teams reflect their head coach's intensity more than Dan McCarney and Bob Stoops. Oklahoma won the toss. They've deferred. The kick is coming. Trey DiCarlo and Young and Wagner wait on it at the 2-yard line. It's Michael Wagner. And the tailback's got himself a seam, and he's out to about the 28-yard line. That's where Iowa State will go to work offensively. Here's the guy that everybody is talking about. And I'm talking about everybody from MTV to every magazine in the country. And he's Seneca Wallace, the 5'10", 193-pound senior. And he's a guy that makes big plays. As Bob said, it's not so much that every game he rushes or throws for so many yards. He finds a way to come up with big plays when they need them.
At critical times, that's right.
So they'll work from the 28-yard line. 3 wide out grouping for Wallace, and immediately he'll drop back in the shotgun. Wagner and Rutland will flank him there. Noise already deafening here at Oklahoma. No gain on the play for Michael Wagner. Might have lost a foot or two. Let's check the starting lineups. First, here's the big eaters up front for Iowa State. Shelton and Menard, Butler at the center spot with the most experience, Montgomery and Stubby. The backs and receivers, Wagner, Woodley the fullback, although we've already seen both tailbacks in together. Knox the tight end, Danielson and Whitver the wide receivers. Lane Danielson is a big play receiver, and he's the guy they look to stretch the field. Wallace, plenty of time. Now throws short and incomplete. Intended for Wagner, and he sort of double pumped. And then when he did recoil to try to throw, it was in the dirt. Defensively for Oklahoma, this is a tremendous front wall. Wilkerson and Harris, Klein and Jackson.
One of the best in the country.
And as Bob said, Lehman and Mitchell and Jackson will get around. Speedy linebackers and big hitters. And Woolfolk, Everidge, Bassey and Derek Strait.
Great corners. 2 guys on the outside are very good.
And this guy we talked to yesterday, he can run anybody down. And just a true sophomore at defensive tackle. 3rd down and 10. This is when Wallace usually shines. Blitz is on. Incomplete. Intended for Lane Danielson. And Wallace took a hit. And it was Everidge coming on the blitz. So it's 3 and out Iowa State.
Well, that's not all bad. You're on the road. It's a hyped-up crowd. Offensively, at least you didn't turn it over. Punting in this situation is not a bad thing.
Tony Elk punting to that guy can be a bad situation.
Well, that's true.
Antonio Perkins, who I think is one of the most exciting guys you can watch in all of college football. When he gets his hands on it with a little bit of a gap here or there.
He's already returned 2 punts for touchdowns this year.
Here comes Derek Strait, and he blocked it into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Straight to the punter, and Sims covers it.
The Iowa State player had a chance to kick it out of the end zone. He tried to kick it out of the end zone, and he missed the ball. Here's the block. Now number 17, it's not in the picture there, but he tried to kick it out of the end zone. He missed it.
Put it this way, he hit it once and got it stuffed and then fanned the second time. And just like that, the special teams of Oklahoma puts the second-ranked Sooners in front. Derek Strait, Bob Stoops says he's been our most consistent player for 3 years. He just helped them score a touchdown. You can bet Dan McCarney's not a happy coach. His punting unit after his offense was forced into a 3-and-out situation. Lets Derek Strait slide right in there, block the punt. It's a touchdown.
Plain and simple, that is just good coaching. That is something that the Oklahoma coaches saw in preparation for this ball game. First punt, they come out and get it blocked.
And now the kickoff. Wait a minute. They whistled this one dead, apparently. I don't know if DeCarlo was trying to squib that or if he slipped. The ball apparently came off the tee while he was swinging his foot through, so we're going to try that again.
Ever happened to you on a golf course?
Now, you know it has. Why'd you have to make me embarrassed like that? While we wait for the re-kick, let's go back to the touchdown.
Here's Strait right here. He's just going to come free. Now, they were just overloaded that side. They just overloaded the left side of it. Now watch Forrest, number 17. He's going to whiff it right there. He tried to kick the ball out of the end zone. And if you're going to do that, just fall on it or get down and knock it out of bounds.
Well, it might have been the spin that had him confused.
I don't know if he was a kicker in high school or what, but
not a very good one if he was.
Just jump on the ball. You'll give away 2 points, not 7, and you punt the ball away.
We talked about the weather before the game. The wind has died somewhat, but it is windy and cold, and the special teams of Oklahoma in Bob Stoops' era have been impressive, including another touchdown moments ago. And this one goes to Lance Young, and he'll take a knee 5 yards deep. So again, Iowa State will have to work from its own 20-yard line. So now already the pressure has built a little bit on the Cyclones. They found themselves in this situation before, down behind to a good team, but you don't want to do it week in and week out, especially with the schedule they have upcoming. They have really got to be one of those teams that worries about week in and week out. And we'll show you their schedule later. It is murderer's row from here on out.
Yeah, especially the 4 of the next 5 in particular. All of them are on the road.
3 wideouts again as Wallace stacks 2 wide to the right side. And now 1 back in motion. Play action to Wagner. Wallace all day. Seneca incomplete. No flags will fly in. Yes, there will be. The field judge threw one about 2 seconds after the play was over. Jack Whitver was the intended receiver. It looked like a pass interference or a holding because he went down.
It looked like a trip. You got to play action fake the reverse. And the receiver's going to be coming across the middle of your screen. Right here, you see the hit. Right there, he's going to hit him before the ball gets to it. Yeah, he just cut him off.
And it was Perkins in there as a nickelback.
Perkins seeing the play develop very clearly, but just getting it there too quickly.
So, first down out to the 35.
And that was a nice late call from the official on the other side of the field.
Yep.
I don't know about what happened to the official on that side. Maybe he was screened out.
From the gun. A cross buck off the shotgun and good for 5 for Hiawatha Rutland out to the 40-yard line. Good looking play as out of the shotgun they like to run that little bit of a sprint draw, and they cross the 2 backs in this situation. Iowa State, they're not 6-1 by accident, folks. In the Big 12 offensive rankings, you can see they're first in those categories and 3rd in turnover margin, and they're 2nd in many others, including pass efficiency, total offense, passing, scoring, and time of possession. 2nd down and 5. Seneca Wallace on the run, throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Kyle Knock, and Knock just couldn't quite handle it before he hit the dirt at the 45-yard line. It would have been a first down. Knock is not a big pass receiving tight end, much more of a blocker, although that pass wasn't exactly where he could reach it. Seneca Wallace on 3rd down. This is what he does so well. On 3rd and 4th down, he is nearly unstoppable.
He is outstanding on 3rd down. We ask offensive coordinator Steve Brickey, why so good on 3rd downs? And he says, we just run the same plays. We have all the adjustments. They've got to stop us. We know what we want to do to make 3rd downs into 1st down.
Here comes a blitz from the secondary. Lofts it out. Has got a man open in the flat. Rutland on the run, but he's dropped in his tracks. And it's Andre Woolfolk. That rangy defense of Oklahoma is there to meet the challenge, and they'll force another punt.
This is why they're so good. Not only are they quick and fast, but they are sure tacklers. Woolfolk has played some offense in the past and is playing strictly defense this year.
So punting situation. Remember, Yelk had the last one blocked by Straight. Perkins has yet to be able to touch it as a return man. This kicks away and off the side of his foot. And let's see, this is not going to gain him much. They're walking past the 35-yard line, still walking. Way up near the 40 is where they finally decide that ball went out of bounds. A 21-yard punt is all. You see the raindrops, and it's been threatening all week. We thought we were going to have rain all day yesterday and that maybe it would improve by today. That storm front has sort of stalled right over Norman, Oklahoma, and it's cold and it's wet, and here comes the Oklahoma offense for the first time today with great field position for Nate Hibble at the 39-yard line. There's his numbers on the year, 14-1 as a starter. And a quick throw. And out to about the 41-yard line, Trent Smith, his tight end, and one of the favorite targets for him this year. Here's the big fellas up front for the Sooners. They're growing better every week. Sims and Davis, Carter, Skinner, and Jamal Brown.
A little more physical this year.
Griffin, sensational tailback. You just saw Trent Smith, Fagan, Peoples, and Savage in most of the three wideout sets, and Trent Smith is the leading receiver. You can add one more to that 19 now. He's got 20 on the year after the opening snap. Quickly, Quentin Griffin out in the flat on the fly and up to about the 47-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Ellis Hobbs made the hit from the secondary for the Cyclones. Cyclones an undersized defense, but they get around. Their biggest guy is Karstens in there at the defensive tackle spot. Coleman, Leaders, and Smith round out the front four. The linebackers, Word and Brown, their top tacklers. Jeremy Lloyd's a big play guy. And in the secondary, Austin, Timmons, Billups, and Hobbs. They're very undersized. Keep that in mind.
They're like Smurfs. Everybody is 5'8" or smaller.
Karsten's the biggest guy on the whole defense. He kind of anchors the front. And from the shotgun, it's Quentin Griffin on the handoff. I don't know if he got there. Billups came up quickly from the secondary. And Jermaine Billups, formerly a tailback, a 3rd string tailback, and now a starter, one of their leaders from his safety position, might have stopped him short. They're going to have to take a look at this.
You talk to Iowa State defensively, John Skladany, the defensive coordinator, and everybody says we got to do one thing, and that's stop Griffin.
Yep.
Stop the run. They play 8 men in the box. They're going to try and stop the run, and they did.
They did.
That one then.
Less than the length of the football. And the offense is looking at the sideline saying, Coach, we want to go for it. And the coach says,
okay.
Let's go for it. An early gamble by Bob Stoops. 4th down and less than a yard. 2 tight ends have checked in. And Oklahoma on their side of the 50. Let's see if they actually do go for it or try to draw the Cyclones offside.
Boy, you got single coverage down at the bottom if you ever want to go for it.
Kewan Jones, 1st down, crosses midfield. So 1st down Sooners, they lead by 7. Let's check in elsewhere with John in New York.
Brad, in the Old Navy update in the Big Ten, Ohio State, first couple of minutes, Craig Krenzel to Michael Jenkins. What happens to the defensive backs? All out of position. An easy score from 47 yards out. The Buckeyes lead it 7-0 over Wisconsin. Brad.
All right, John, here 7-0, same score. Oklahoma now on the Iowa State side of the 50. And Hibble double pumps, and Nate will keep it. And he goes down just inside the 45. Got about 4 on the scramble.
That's all Nate needs to do is just get upfield a little bit, gain 4 or 5 yards. I don't know if you're familiar with the Oklahoma quarterbacking situation. Jason White, the starter at the beginning of the season, a real scrambler. Guy can move around a lot. Injured a knee, out for the year. Hibble takes over, not quite the runner that he is.
2nd down and 6. Here's a sprint draw to Kewan Jones. And he got back to the line of scrimmage, and he got tattooed by Brandon Brown. Although the coaches for Oklahoma will tell you that Nate Hibble is not the runner that Jason was. But they say he's not bad, but we decided we can't do what we were going to do. We had 2 quarterbacks before. We don't want to run him now. Then we get down to Thompson.
Well, especially since Brent Rawls, the 3rd string quarterback, also he broke a thumb. He's out also. So now you've got Hibble and a true freshman, Paul Thompson, behind Hibble. So They want to take it. They don't want to get down to the true freshman to lead this team.
3rd down and 5. 7th play of the Sooner drive. Hibble, quick slant, and incomplete. Will Peoples, the intended receiver, but nice coverage by Ellis Hobbs to make him cough that one up. And now it is 4th down and 5, and we'll see the punting unit.
Top of your screen, just a little slant. Nice job of starting to the outside. That ball should have caught that ball.
Yep.
Should have caught the pass. 1st down.
Now they went on 4th down and a yard. Now on 4th and 5. They're set to punt it away. High end over end kick. Might be very effective. It is.
They did this well last week against Texas, and it continues today.
And Perkins, not only a great punt returner, he's good getting down to down the Cyclones in a hole at the 3. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chrysler. Drive equals love. The people of Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate. And Tostitos Scoops, the dip lover's chip. Dig in. Dig in and bundle up. That's the word here today.
Last week we were sweating. Last week we were asking for air conditioners and fans. This week we want heaters this week.
Exactly. Last week I was apologizing for you and I sweating on camera, and this week we're borrowing people's jackets. Now the Cyclones start in a hole at their own 3-yard line. Dangerous spot against this defense. Handoff. Maybe a yard for Michael Wagner. Tommy Harris, a defensive lineman, made the stop. John Laurie was over on the sideline in between, during the timeout, I should say, and I think he was getting the ankles taped. Might have turned an ankle a little bit earlier in this quarter. So everybody gets in the injury mix at midseason. 2nd down and 9. If Seneca Wallace should decide to throw, he's got to be careful about scrambling in the end zone. If there's a holding call, it ends up being a safety. Here he is, play action, but he throws in a hurry, and he throws behind and short his wide receiver, Lane Danielson.
You wonder in bad weather, in foul weather, who does it favor? Does it favor the offense? Well, it favors the offense, and it also favors the quarterback that can handle it. Now, if you've got small hands and you don't like throwing wet balls, you're in trouble.
I asked Swanee the other day, and Swanee, I said as a receiver, did you like it or not? Now we'll check in with that in a second. 3rd down and 9. Danielson in motion. 2 tight ends set for Wallace. They're going to keep it on the ground and play this safe. Now they're going to have to punt, though, from their own end zone as Wagner squirted out to maybe the 9-yard line.
Yeah, not a good start offensively for the Cyclones. 8 plays, only 8 yards.
And Wallace is 1 of 5. 3rd straight 3 and out. They just have the proper amount of room for Tony Yelk to punt, and Perkins back there just licking his chops.
Oh, you're licking his chops. He's running downhill. He's standing on the 50-yard line, and he's thinking, hey, I can take this one back.
Yelk's last one was off the side of his foot.
We got all 10 guys up here. They're going to just...
High snap. He got rid of it.
Jam him. We got a return on.
And Perkins watches it go out of bounds. Great field position again, the 47-yard line.
Yeah, but a good kick to kick it away from Perkins and out of bounds.
Yeah, they're trying not to get crazy and kick it to him. 43-yard punt out of bounds. Coming up on the Valvoline Halftime Show, John and Terry will have all the highlights and analysis from today's action around college football. If you missed it, Oklahoma State has beaten Nebraska in the Big 12. For those of you that are watching in that part of the country, and that may drop the jaws of some, and some may not be surprised at all. Oklahoma State almost got Texas, remember, a couple of weeks ago, and today they get Nebraska. Nate Hibble, 2 of 3 so far. A couple of short swing passes, one to Smith and one to Quentin Griffin. And now it's Hibble Just taking it himself and running with it. I don't know if that's a broken play or not. We just got done saying that they don't want to run him too much because if he goes down, they're down to a true freshman. And that time Nate just took off with it. Got what he could.
That was a shovel pass, and there was a fox in the hen house, and the big defensive lineman was there, and he says, "I ain't throwing this ball."
That's not a place to dig a scoop.
Yeah, watch. Go ahead and run this. Go ahead and run it. Here he is right here. Here's that fox right there. He says, "There's no way to there. I can't shovel ball that pass."
And now the throw out to Curtis Fagan. And he's short of a first down, but he's down near the 45. Atif Austin knocked him out of bounds there. Fagan, that's his 16th catch of the year. There's the breakdown of Oklahoma so far this year. 168 yards a game rushing. They've had huge games rushing, and then they've had some, like the Alabama game when it was minus rushing. So highs and lows, they're trying to even that off instead of being on the roller coaster. 3rd down and 3. Hibble, quick drop, quick throw. Fagan again. I don't think he got it. Nope, he's a yard short. Same person they're trying to pick on, Atif Austin, and Austin was equal to the task. And it's 4th down, and I think it's almost a yard to go.
Well, one of the things that's going to be there all day is the single coverage on the outside. Look at the separation here between the receiver and the defensive back. And it's 3rd and 3 or 4, and I don't blame him for throwing that pass, but he just has to get down past the marker.
Last time it was Kewan Jones on 4th and short. This time it's Kewan Jones who almost broke it down to the 36-yard line. Austin made the tackle. This kid is not only a good short yardage back, despite the fact he's not very big. He's somebody that knows how to find the end zone when you get down inside the 5.
Well, he's their short yardage runner. He's 5'9" and about 190. They take Griffith out and put in Kewan Jones. He's just a tougher kid, and let him take the pounding of that short yardage and goal line.
So he gets it down to the 36-yard line. John Scladini, defensive coordinator, Iowa State, looking on, hoping his team can come up with a stop. But right now it's Oklahoma 1st down. Hibble, high snap from the shotgun, deep middle, complete. Down inside the 15 to Mark Clayton. Good throw, 23 yards.
Take a look from behind. The snap is a little high. He's going to throw down to the left, top left of your screen. He just throws it to the inside of 41 Lloyd and in front of the defensive back.
There's the guys. They're the top 4 career receivers in Oklahoma history. Savage, Smith, Griffin, and Fagan. Now, granted, they ran the wishbone so many times that you didn't have to be high on the list to get in that upper echelon, but that shows how much they've thrown since Bob Stoops arrived.
Yeah, all 4 of those guys are seniors, and those totals, you saw how many, they all over 115 or 20 receptions. They all total 37 touchdowns. So a lot of playmakers on this ball club, but they're all seniors, and so they're going to be looking for some players next year.
Not to mention Clayton, the guy that caught that 23-yarder, is one of the younger guys and not normally one of the starters, and so it's almost reaching the point now where the sophomores and even the freshmen might be better than the seniors, but the seniors have been around here a long time playing.
Good point.
There's the red zone offense, 24 of 29 on the year, and they're 2nd down and 11. And Quentin Griffin bounced outside, touchdown. He was going to go down. He kept his balance, and he's in the end zone again.
Take a look at the offensive line. That's Carter, the center, that snapped the ball and then come around. That's not easy to do. And Griffin says, hey, if I don't get in the end zone, Jones is coming in. He's the short yardage and goal line runner. I ain't going to get this touchdown.
Well, Bob and Brad, he looked like a Pebbles over a lake, just skipping over. You thought he was going to go down. He gets an arm down, another down. He sees the goal line and makes a dive for it.
His 5th rushing touchdown of the year, the 34th of his brilliant Sooner career. And the guy down for Iowa State is Jordan Karstens, their big defensive captain, who, as I mentioned earlier, is their biggest player and their best chance of stuffing the run a little bit. He got hurt last week, a deep thigh bruise, and actually sucked it up, came back in and played in the second half against Texas Tech when they could barely walk him off the field. And you might expect he'll be able to do that again today. He limps off, but he's a tough cookie. Out of Bagley, Iowa, and the big 300-pounder, I think, will probably be back in there.
Yeah, he is a good player. As you mentioned, he was injured last week and came back.
So it's DiCarlo in for the point after. And he's got it up and good. So they did it once with special teams. Then they turned to their leading ground gainer, Quentin Griffin, keeping his balance. It's 14-0 Sooners. Oklahoma 14, Iowa State nothing. 5:15 remaining first quarter. Quentin Griffin with another touchdown, and today has moved into the number 9 spot all time in rushing. He just passed Lydell Carr, and he's got only 19 yards on the day, but one of them a big touchdown. When it looked like he couldn't keep his balance, he somehow found a way. Here's the kick. Lance Young about 3 yards deep, and he won't have an opportunity to return this one either. Coming up next Saturday, we're back with a terrific doubleheader for you. And noon Eastern time, Ty Willingham and number 7 Notre Dame against 14th ranked Florida State, who had a week off this week. Bob and Swanee and I will be in Tallahassee for that one at noon. Then at 3:30 Eastern, the Cyclones face another tough test. Chris Sims and number 8 Texas, plus other regional action. You can check the local listings for the game in your area. Notre Dame perfect so far, but boy, do they have their hands full tonight against Air Force.
Amen, brother.
Again, the Cyclones after work from the 20. Trying to get something going offensively. They got about 4 yards from Hiawatha Rutland before Brandon Everidge made the stop.
This is the 4th possession for Iowa State, and they have had 3 plays and out on all 3 possessions.
A blocked punt, and then 2 that they got away. One a short kick, the other one not much longer.
Yeah, and make it worse, that blocked punt was for a touchdown.
Right. 2nd down and 6. 3 wideouts for Wallace. Pump fakes. Now he's going deep. He's got a man out there. Young, and broken up at the last moment by Everidge.
Great play by Everidge.
I thought Lance Young was going to get a touchdown out of that one, but Everidge with a great closing move knocked it away. Boy, he threw that a long ways, partner.
What Seneca Wallace does by rolling out is he keeps it alive and allows it. He wants to throw it to the right side. Now he looks all the way back to the left. If he gets it out about 3 more yards, that would allow his receiver Young to run under it, and Everidge wouldn't be able to get it. But this is a good play.
You're right. He waited a half step.
Yeah.
That was a difference.
Just slowed him up a little.
Here comes a blitz from Oklahoma. Wallace trying to run away from it. On the run. This one tipped. Incomplete. Teddy Lehman got a hand on it. He'll get a hand on a lot of them. He'll be the fastest linebacker to play in the last however many years.
Well, he was a high school sprinter, and now he's a middle linebacker in the...
It's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah. They want speed.
12 plays for Iowa State, 16 total yards. Again, they punt, or attempt to. Yelks had 1 block today, 2 blocked this season. Again, trying to kick it away from Perkins, and so intent on doing so that he knocks it out of bounds. This is a better kick, though.
Yeah, that was a good kick. And no question that they're kicking away from Perkins.
At the 32, that's the reason for the boos. Obviously, the Sooner fans want to see Perkins handle a punt return. A 44-yard kick against the wind and out of bounds. Good job that time by Yelk.
Brett.
So now at the 32-yard line, the Oklahoma offense goes to work. Much maligned Nate Hibble. I don't think he deserves all the grief he gets. We talked to Bob Stoops about that.
It is unfair. because sometimes, you know, especially with a quarterback, and not just ours, sometimes they're not protected like they need to. Sometimes they're rushed. Sometimes a defensive guy steps in and makes a great play on the other side. So it's always not just one guy's fault, you know, or a receiver may break off a route when he shouldn't. You know, but the general public doesn't see that, and it's too easy for them just to isolate one guy. And but that's just the way the general public and fans are. So you just deal with it and keep rolling.
Nate Hibble is a tough guy, and he won 10 of his 11 starts last year, then lost his starting job, as Bob said earlier, to Jason White. And not only that, White was named a captain. Now you add all that up, and I would think that a kid would fold, and he has done anything but that. And in fact, the coaches tell us it's made a tighter unit of the offensive line, especially because they've rallied around Nate and say, you're our guy, man. We're going to take care of you.
Kevin Wilson, the offensive line coach and the run coordinator, said he's been great. He says last spring, he said he didn't see that. But this fall, when that happened, he was in the bowl game. He didn't have it. But when he came back, he is a much different guy, much more mature, and that offensive line has really bonded with him.
Let's see what he does on 3rd and 6 from the gun. He's going to go down. Boy, that pocket, if there was one, collapsed immediately. A loss of 5. Lloyd and Smith combined. Smith is considered a defensive end, though really he's an outside linebacker, and Lloyd's on the other side.
Well, there's Lloyd, 41, and somebody from the other side. But, you know, if there is a weakness in this Oklahoma team, it's that offensive line.
Blake Ferguson set for his first punt with Todd Miller back deep. Handles a snap. Miller took 160 yards for a touchdown earlier this year, and he's not going anywhere with this one. Nice coverage. Jacob Rice, the guy that was the deep snapper, was one of the first down there. And a good punt by Ferguson of 46 yards, and actually a loss of 2 on the return. That was Blake's second punt. I may have said his first punt. And so Iowa State will come off the sideline, a little better field position. They're so used to starting at their own 20. Other than that one penalty that moved them out to the 35, they haven't been able to get out of their own goalpost shadow, although there are no shadows today, trust me. 2:17 remaining, 3rd quarter. It's 14-0 Oklahoma. Wallace keeps it himself, but nowhere to hide. Only got a yard. As Bob said, he thinks he's going to have to run today instead of scrambling to throw, more to run and try to find some gaps in that Oklahoma defense.
And it's really out of character for them to want to run him, because they want him to be a pocket passer. All the big plays, all the highlights on the shows at night, you see him outside the pocket doing something with his feet, and that's the small portion of it. But today, I think he's got to get more involved in that running game.
2nd down and 10. Here comes a blitz. Throw in sideline, incomplete. Intended for Whitver. And trying to loft one out there. Oklahoma sent everybody after Wallace, and he is 1 of 8 passing.
Well, it's a good day for ducks and fishing, but not for quarterbacks throwing the football.
That's for sure.
So, you know, you're not going to be as sharp with the ball being wet and the receivers having a little bit slippery field down there.
So if you're
Bob and Brad, plus the fact it's just cold enough that when you relax your hand in this kind of weather, the natural tendency is the hand wants to curl up. So it just makes it hard for everyone to feel natural and comfortable.
See how they do here. 3rd down and 10. Blitz from the secondary. Everidge has got him again. Everidge has been a nuisance. And Wallace goes down. Number 7 has been coming from that safety spot on more than one occasion in this first quarter.
Well, it's a 3-man line right here, but look at these two guys. You talk about a zone blitz. This is what we talk about. You can block one, but you can't block the other one. Oklahoma does a lot of this. They're very intelligent in their schemes defensively. That's why they're so good, besides their talent and their speed.
They've got 9 guys up with Yelk set to punt again. Brent Venables' defense has done the job. Boy, they almost got to him again. And this one bounces out of bounds at the 42-yard line. 28-yard punt. And that's Mike Stoops, the other, quote, offensive coordinator. Let's take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook, Bob.
All right, let's take a look at something now. There's different ways to make big plays, and you have to have enough time because it's going to take a little longer. The quarterback is going to roll out. Now, what he wants to do is hit this receiver way down the field. Now, this is the guy right here, that's safety, that's going to get in the way of this. Fake, roll out. You see the receiver at the bottom of the screen. Now he throws the ball all the way downfield. Now, if it were just a little further, now the problem with that is when you roll all the way to the right and throw back across field, you better have a gun for an arm.
That's right.
But that is another way to throw deep, not by being in the pocket because it takes longer. Get yourself outside the pocket, let your receiver run down the field.
Here comes the Oklahoma offense at the Cyclone 42-yard line. Best starting field position of the day and already leading by 2 touchdowns. Kewan Jones, the tailback in the eye, with a 3 wide-out grouping for Hibble. Nice play fake. Sets and fires deep out, incomplete. Intended for Curtis Fagan.
Should have hit him there. Fagan had it. He had time to throw it. I don't know if he runs into somebody or not. Let's watch. Does he hit somebody just before he throws it?
I think he got it away clean.
Now, see there, he had room to slide to his right. You know, we talk about pocket presence in the quarterbacks. You need to feel where the protection is. He could have slid a little bit to his right and had plenty of time to throw still.
Quentin Griffin on a little option and down to about the 36-yard line with 30 seconds left in the half. And Swanee, I mentioned this earlier, it was so loud down there I don't think you heard me, but we talked about who this favors, offense or defense. When it's starting to get slick down there, you can see him sliding around, and I asked you yesterday as a receiver how you liked it when it was in this kind of condition.
Well, and what I told you is when there was this kind of condition, it forced me to concentrate because I figured if I held on to every pass, that means you'd be complete, the clock wouldn't stop, and we'd get the heck off the field as quickly as we could.
Get the heck out of there.
That was my favorite answer of all time. It was always cold and wet, and Swanee, being kind of a California guy, said, let's catch the ball, let's keep the clock moving, let's keep matriculating down the field. Well, we've played one. And it's all Oklahoma on a block kick and a Quentin Griffin touchdown. Sooners 14-0. Second-ranked Oklahoma leading number 13 Iowa State 14-0 as we get set to start the second quarter in Norman. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew on a cold, windy day in Norman. And so far the offense has scored once for Oklahoma and the special teams have scored once for the Sooners. Leaders offensively so far today. Nate Hibble's 5 of 7. Quentin Griffin 3 rushes, including his 34th career rushing touchdown, and Curtis Fagan has caught a couple of short passes. 3rd down and 4 here. I think he got it. Quentin Griffin, Kewan Jones, I beg your pardon. And Tyson Smith brings him down, but I think he's got another first down as we check in with Lynn.
Just wanted to give you an update on Jordan Carstens, who went off and we thought he was hurt. He just got the wind knocked out of him. He has not missed a defensive series for his team since he came out for that one particular play, and that's important to the defensive units, also important to his family, because every Sunday Jordan heads home to his farm and it's harvest time, so they need him out there.
Yeah, they bought so many number 92 jerseys 3 years ago. His dad said we always hope for a good crop because we have to pay a lot for those things. Hibble, look out, lofts it as he's hit, and it's incomplete, and boy, he took a big shot. Jermaine Billups from the secondary is the guy that got there. There's Billups, big hit.
Never saw him.
Nope.
Never saw him. He was looking left. Billups, the strong safety, came on a strong safety blitz and put some pressure on him.
Bringing up 2nd down and 10 as the play comes in from the bench. 1 sack. He's been knocked down once and hit another time, and has a 2nd down and 10 here, and he'll work from the shotgun. Tight end Trent Smith is the motion man, but it's a sprint draw to Griffin, and Griffin has Lloyd all draped all over him. Lloyd, the outside linebacker, a senior out of Pittsburgh, Texas, and a loss of 4. He's a big play guy. He had 5 tackles last week against Texas Tech, but more importantly, On one play, Anton Page, the wide receiver for Texas Tech, was going for what looked like a first down. He just ripped the ball out of his hand for a fumble recovery.
Exactly. Just had him, ripped it out. He had a heck of a game last
Yes,
week.
he did. He really did. This is an undersized Cyclone defense, but they play hard.
And it's not real fast, but they do play hard.
First time 3rd and long for the Sooners. Hibble, plenty of time. Got his man. What a catch by Will Peoples.
That was a great throw there by Hibble.
Just outside the 10. Lewis was the guy covering, but watch this catch.
He's going to go down, break to the inside, and then come back out. Good protection. Now the thing I like, he's going to throw it over these two defensive men right here. Look at it's in between the two. Throws it over the first guy and in front of the second guy.
Boy, and he had to stretch out and got it just outside the 10-yard line. Quentin Griffin, boy, the little fella. He might only be 5'7" or 5'8", but he is strong. Matt Word and Brandon Brown finally dropped him, but not until he got inside the 4.
Great balance, good vision, and he's low centered. You know, he's very strong. You know, I said yesterday he runs a lot like Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he's not a speed burner, but boy, he gets everything out of every carry.
Here he is again, number 22, touchdown. He scores touchdowns like Emmitt Smith. Same number, 4 yards, his second of the day. His offensive linemen say you don't hear much from Q in the huddle except he breathes hard. 4-yard touchdown. The quietest guy on the team has the loudest performance of the day so far with 2 touchdowns. DiCarlo in for the point after. And it is 21-0.
Bob Stoops says yesterday, we never have trouble following the Texas game. We always play well.
That they do. They're off to a great start today. They lead the number 13 team 21-0. When Bob Stoops told us he thought maybe his team was hitting stride, I think he was correct. 21-0. Although their field position has been so good today, and Iowa State's has been horrendous, that's helped the cause. But unless Iowa State does something offensively, that field position is not going to improve. And almost, it's like they didn't come out of the locker room yet.
Well, Iowa State only has 7 yards of total offense. Oklahoma has 111. And 7 of their points, if you just joined us, came on a block punt for a touchdown.
Pete Kuba to kick off. A high knuckleball of a kick, some indecision on who's going to take it. Wagner takes it at the 21 and slips, and down he goes at the 25.
Somebody's got to make a play, guys. You're on the road. Things aren't going well. Somebody's got to step up and make a play.
Got a flag down.
John, dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team.
A dead ball personal foul. You might have overheard one of the officials. Dead ball personal foul on the kicking team. That'll give Iowa State a lot better field position than they have.
Personal foul against Oklahoma. 15 yards. First down.
That'll move it out to the 40, and all of a sudden that field position will be the best they've had so far. Let's go back and look at Quentin Griffin's 35th career rushing touchdown.
Let's take a look behind the offense. It's just a toss. You got all the receivers over there on the side. The Peoples passes up one guy. Says, all right. Griffin says, I'll just jump over it.
There has never been a letdown after the Red River shootout. You add that all up, and it averages about a 28-point victory every year. Here's Seneca Wallace. Looked like an option, then a drop back. Now he fires. And it's intercepted by Everidge, who has been his arch nemesis so far today. He's sacked him, he's knocked away a potential touchdown, and now he's got an interception.
That's Everidge's 3rd interception on the year. This is just good coverage. Nobody was open. Then he had to throw it. He just overthrew it a little bit.
Now, Bob, this ball might have slipped a little bit out of his hand. The rain was picked up substantially here. But as he throws his ball down the field, I just can't help but wonder, Bob, if that wasn't a play, he should have just taken off and run.
Well, actually, if the ball would have been down lower, there was a receiver that he was looking at, he could have got it to. It just sailed on him and went over his head.
He knows it. You saw his reaction. Out of the shotgun. Here's Griffin again. And the guy they call Q has got 9 more. Lloyd made the tackle. Little number 22. And there you see, as Swanee said, the rain's intensifying as the lights have been on for a couple of days here in Norman.
It's no fun to play in a day like this where it's cool, you get wet, soaked to the bone, and windy.
Down to the 40, and a first down for Griffin. Brandon Brown tripped him up. It was actually Kewan Jones again. Again, our short yardage guy. Those two built pretty similar. Our Aflac trivia question. When was the last time Iowa State defeated Iowa, Nebraska, and Oklahoma in the same season? And they have done 2 of those.
Yeah, that's a hard question now.
Yeah, we'll give you time to think about it, or if you're at home, look it up.
Unless the Cyclones, all the Iowa State fans should know.
Hibble, nice play fake. Nate's going to keep it. And gets what he can. Got about 5 out to the 45. Matt Word, the linebacker, is there. Hibble, of course, who had to follow in the footsteps of a national championship with Josh Heupel. And you're never going to measure up sometimes when your predecessor wins a national crown.
Yeah. Hibble was a transfer from Georgia.
Nate still can't believe Quincy Carter starting for the Cowboys. Quentin Griffin out of bounds at the 49, maybe the 50. And that's the reason he left Georgia, because Quincy Carter won the job there. So the transfer here. Quentin's involved, isn't he? He got half a yard line on his helmet there, and his game against Texas was his career high.
What a great game. 248 yards in a big game. What do they say about the big players step up in big games? Play well, and you know, that's pretty good defense Texas got.
You got that right. And they bring the chains all the way from the far side.
It is a first down.
We can't quite see the ball, but John Laurie tells us it's first down. So right about at midfield.
It's raining pretty good, partner.
I was going to say either the drops are getting bigger or it's snowing.
It's blowing. It's starting to come in the booth here.
I know it is.
Yeah, but this isn't the worst rain. You know, guys, against University of Texas El Paso here, they had to stop the game for about 45 minutes. It came down so hard. Then they continued play, and this field remarkably held up extraordinarily well. It's put in about 1995.
From the shotgun, Hibble throws. Peoples has it. Broke a tackle. Almost tiptoed down the sideline. Brandon Brown knocked him out. But that young wide receiver from Humboldt, Texas, the same hometown as Quentin Griffin, and watch him here.
Well, they got a lot of experience and a lot of depth at wide receiver. He just headbutted the defensive back and kept going. We mentioned they're going to lose Savage and they're going to lose Fagan. They lose Trent Smith. They lose Griffin, but we've got some young stars to step up.
Like Peoples and Clayton and Brandon Jones. And now the handoff. Quentin Griffin lost the ball. I think Hibble covered it. Nate Hibble followed through with his fake, and that ball squirted all the way to the 30, and the quarterback's there.
Oklahoma has been very vigilant on their fumbles last week against Texas. When Peoples fumbled on the 2-yard line, Griffin picked it up and took it in for the score. That ball is definitely out.
Yep.
What is it, Forrest?
Forrest.
Yeah.
And Hibble there to cover it. And now it's Quentin Griffin again. Slides his way down to the 25-yard line. Ellis Hobbs made the tackle.
We're talking about being in the right spot at the right time on these fumbles. Peoples catches this ball, puts it on the ground, and Griffin is right there to put it in.
Quentin says, hey, you know what? I got it on the hop, no problem. One of the big scores last week. First down, Oklahoma. Kewan Jones. And Jones And he almost took it. Forrest again had to stop him, but he got 11. Kewan Jones will be the main man next year as the tailback, a redshirt freshman out of Jenks, Oklahoma, and he's dangerous.
That offensive line doing well. Carter and Brown and Davis, Sims up front, Skinner. I'm impressed with Oklahoma that they're on top and they're not letting up. Get them while you can get them, because the second half may be different.
Driving, continuing to down to the 10-yard line with 10 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the half, and they lead by 3 touchdowns. They put the ball right down at the 10 where it's 2nd down and 6.
Bob and Brad, we're seeing the next progression, I think, of the Oklahoma offensive line. As we sat down and talked with Chuck Long and Kevin Watson, the offensive line coach, they said, we have the confidence now that we're developing an offensive line that when it's 3rd and 3, we can hand the ball off, not necessarily just throw the fade.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kevin Wilson, the offensive line coach.
Here's Kewan Jones, and it's going to be close to 1st and goal. And right now, Oklahoma's coming off the ball, and the Cyclones can do nothing to stop them. Going to be a little bit short, I think, of a 1st down, although they may take a look at it. And Oklahoma over the century mark already in rushing.
Well, this is not only on the defense of Iowa State. Their offense has not done anything.
Right.
They've had 5 possessions, and they've been 3 plays and out on all 5 possessions.
That's all you can say is the Cyclone defense has been out there all day.
Yeah.
And this one's a little bit short. Right at the 4, and they need to get to about the 3.5. So being very meticulous with setting it down. Oklahoma has been pretty efficient in the red zone this year themselves, and now they've got a 3rd and short situation.
Iowa State defensively has not been that good. But when the offenses have gotten in, they've scored every time.
Hibble will try to do it himself. He didn't need much, but I tell you, he didn't get much. I don't know if he got it, to be honest with you. The linesman came in and put a foot down, which doesn't look like he gained anything to me, but we are about 7 miles away from the field right now, so don't go by what I say.
We're up in the nosebleed seats. I don't think he moved much at all, but.
Well, Bob and Brad, I'm standing right at the line of scrimmage on the sideline, and the offensive line didn't get a real good push, and looked like if he got anything, he just leaned his body forward.
I think he lost yardage, to be honest with you. It's about as same as it was. So it's 4th down.
All the technology and all the great stuff we've got, still the only way to mark that ball forward progress is the guy on the sideline, the line judge and the head linesman. They just come in, they put their foot down where they think the ball progressed to.
Oklahoma's 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions today, and here they come again with a 3-touchdown lead.
All right, all the single coverage up the top.
Kewan Jones close to the goal line. He has it 1st and goal.
Now that's one of the things that's a little different from the team last year and 2 years ago. In that situation, maybe they would have thrown the pass. They were a finesse offense.
That's what Swanee was talking about.
Now they're a little bit more physical, and they can run the ball in these situations and feel like they can pick it up with their ground game and not their air game.
You talked about it earlier, touched on it, that they needed to get a little nastier and a little tougher up front. So far today they have been. 1st and goal. Kewan Jones, touchdown Oklahoma. And for Kewan, that's number 9 on the year. All Sooners right now.
69 is Davis. Comes around and really doesn't get anybody, but Jones says, out of my way, my man, I'm going in.
And that he did from a yard. 13 plays, 12 of them runs, 1 pass, covered 72 yards. Jones did the honors, and now DeCarlo will try to tack on 1 and does. And with 9:13 remaining in the half, all Oklahoma Sooners. Quentin Griffin has 2 on the ground. Kewan Jones has 1. And it is 28-0 Oklahoma. The Sooner Scooter's been put in the garage. It's getting too wet out there. They don't want to rip up the field.
Maybe the horses are getting tired.
They might be. They got 4 touchdowns already. Set the kick away. 28-0. A statement so far in the first half for second-ranked Oklahoma. Pete Kuba, he of the blue kicking shoe. And Lance Young and Michael Wagner waiting on a chance. Again, it goes to about the same spot, right about the 18. Wagner this time doesn't slip on takeoff, but he slipped when he got tagged right there by Brandon Shelby. This Oklahoma team is fired up in every capacity so far as we check our Pacific Life game summary. And with that, special teams have been very, very special. This is Yelp. Derek Strait blocked it. Terrence Sims, after the miss by Forrest, spins on top of it for a touchdown. And then a partially blocked punt right there set up a short field for the Oklahoma offense. And Quentin Griffin said, "Oh, my big guys are out in front of me. I'm heading to the pylon." So basically, they've gotten 14 points off their special team performance. One directly and one by setting up good field position. Seneca Wallace has completed only 2 passes. One to each side. And almost, he did have it picked off. Derek Strait's got it. Strait, who blocked a punt earlier, coming the other way. And he lost the ball. Now who covered it? Oklahoma says they have it, but coming out of the pile is Iowa State.
It's Montgomery with the ball.
Nope, the umpire says it's Oklahoma ball. And both coaches thinking that their team had covered it.
Hey, Bob, Brad, here's a case where the guy who recovers the football is so excited he runs away, and the officials have no idea where the ball is. He should have stood right up there and given the ball back to him.
Here's Strait. Now here's the return. Lehman leading the blocking, and the ball slipped out right there, definitely out. That looked like, as Swanee said, Oklahoma covered it. We'll get another look, and they're still standing down there trying to make an official determination, I think.
It looked like Oklahoma had the ball for sure.
Tommy Harris looked like he was on top of it.
Guys, I'm standing on the sideline. When you watch this play, they've given the ball to Oklahoma, but I think it was clearly Iowa State. He goes over the ball. The ball is squirting out right now. 83's on top of it, and he has the ball. The ball was never in possession and control by the Oklahoma player.
Should have stood up and gave it to the official then, huh?
Yep.
He should have. He was so excited, he just ran away.
Good call, Swanee. We couldn't see that one from our vantage point. And Quentin Griffin weaving inside the 15 down near the 14 as we check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
Brad, Ohio State against Wisconsin. Jim Sorgi is in there at quarterback. Brooks Bollinger had been sacked 4 times. He goes 42 yards here to Jonathan Orr, who gets it into the end zone for the touchdown, and Wisconsin grabs a 1-point lead over the Buckeyes. Brad?
You see the stat there that John had. Anthony Davis was 70 yards, trying to go to another 1,000-yard season. Wisconsin about the best around in that capacity. Iowa State's close on that statistic, but today they don't have anything to show for their offense, be it with their tailback or their Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback. It's been all Oklahoma here today. 28-0 with 8 minutes left in the half.
Seneca Wallace is 1 of 10 with 2 interceptions. Iowa State has 1 punt blocked for a touchdown and another one that was partially blocked and set up the other score.
Kewan Jones in there at tailback.
And Stoops was having to answer all those questions this week about how you play after you play Texas. You know, can you get your team up? Well, I'll say they can get them up.
That much they've gotten them up. 189 yards total, and a 3rd down upcoming. They're going to take a timeout. We're going to take one with them. 7:36 remaining in the half. All Sooners. The highest national ranking Iowa State's ever had. And in the regular season, it had been 21 years since they'd even been ranked. And right now, it's just plain rank. But it's Oklahoma that's dominating. 28-0.
And this Oklahoma team is getting better and better by the half. They got better after last week's game at Texas. They're getting better this half. I'm very impressed with Oklahoma on all three phases of the game.
Third down and a long 4 just inside the 15-yard line. Peoples has been one of the main targets. He's split down to the bottom of the screen, but they'll keep it on the ground. Quentin Griffin's got a first. He's got more than that. He's down to the 1-yard line. Almost wiggled in.
And did he want to get in the worst way?
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down, do they? Watch this run. I don't even know how he got by the first wave.
He just stayed. Everybody stayed with their man.
And almost got there.
Just couldn't keep his feet.
He deserves the give here, but it's Jones instead. Touchdown, easy for Kewan. His second score on the ground. Oklahoma dominating.
Very impressive. Very impressive. They're doing it with special teams, with 2 block punts and a touchdown. They're doing it with defense, with 2 interceptions, and they're doing it on offense every time they get a chance. 69, Davis pulls again, and he didn't really have anybody to block.
Remember, that followed the fumble recovery. So only having to go 20 yards in 4 plays, and the extra point is good. So the little guy got him close, and the just a little bit bigger guy got him in the end zone.
Well, Bob, Brad, you know, one of the big reasons, as you said, why Quentin was trying to get in that end zone so hard is because he's now the player in the jumbo formation. That's when they bring in the 2 backs and the big tight ends, and they're trying to get that hard 1 yard at the goal line. So he's struggling. He's going to try and get all the way into the end zone before they bring in this power back.
Tell you what, it keeps number 20 happy though too, because when Kewan Jones comes in, it's sugar time. You know he's going to handle it, and he just powered in. They barely touched him. He got touched a lot worse after the touchdown by the celebration from his teammates.
Well, Bob, you brought up an interesting point the other day that Quentin Griffith is one of those guys who might be a contender for the Heisman Trophy if he just had more touches of the football.
Yeah, you know, if his numbers were better, and you know, the only way your numbers get better is if you run those in from the 5-yard line in.
Well, the other numbers that I talked about earlier, he's got a couple 200, almost 250-yard games, but he's had a couple that were way down there. And that's not just his fault. The offensive line didn't play particularly well against Alabama. Short kick taken to the 25 by Lance Young. And Young out to about the 31-yard line.
I'm talking about Griffin. The other thing was Kevin Wilson and Chuck Long, the offensive coordinator, said we got to get him the ball more.
Yep.
We looked at those games and says, hey, we need to get him 20 touches a game at least.
ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Aflac, ask about it at work. And Dell, flexible enterprise solutions that are easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. So far, it's been easy as Dell for Oklahoma. They lead 35-0.
This is not fun if you're wearing a white jersey.
Wallace, sprint draw inside. Decent run that time, almost 9 yards, and more than that. In fact, it's a first down. I thought he was going to go down, and Hiawatha Rutland kept his balance and got a first down. That's the best play of the day for Iowa State.
You're on the road. You had high hopes coming in. You're down 35-0. It's raining and it's cold. The crowd is against you. There ain't many good things to say about the offense.
And Dan McCarney knows that, and he knows that if you get a punt blocked, especially if it ends up being a score, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win.
Especially the first one of the game.
And that was the very first couple minutes of the ball game. At the 42-yard line. Here comes a blitz. And Rutland got a couple. Everidge made the stop, and Everidge has been all over the field today. Iowa State has had its troubles. They've turned it over a couple of times today, both on interceptions, and that's turned into points. And even though it's not considered a turnover, a block punt obviously is a huge, huge turn of events, and only 2 first downs. And now they've got it 2nd down and 8. from the shotgun. Wagner and Rutland both flanking Wallace, and he's trying to be heard, and the crowd comes to life here in Memorial Stadium. Here comes a blitz off the corner. Wallace in trouble, dropped the ball, still loose. Covered by Wagner, but it's way back at the 28-yard line.
Oh, boy.
Things are not going well.
Yeah. Dan's thinking this is like the first 5 years I was here.
Yeah.
Nothing went right. Stepping up, nobody's open, just drops the football. Wagner does a nice job of making bad things worse.
Jimmy Wilkerson is the guy that helped him just drop the football. Got a hand in there to knock it out. This is where you don't want to be against Oklahoma's defense.
This is when you wake up and you hope it's a nightmare.
It's reality, Seneca. It's 3rd and 24. Knock the tight end in motion. Another blitz off the corner. Trying to run by it, but they can't. They're too fast on defense. Shelby in there as a dime defender made the stop. And it's time to punt for Iowa State. And we've said that way too many times today.
Well, they've punted 5 times. They've had the ball 8 possessions. They've punted 6, and they've had 2 interceptions.
Yelks had 1 blocked and 1 deflected. And Antonio Perkins still hasn't touched one on the other end because they're trying to keep it out of his hands. He'll try again, but not successfully this time. Perkins from the 17. Got a block. And it was a beauty. Now weaves his way back across the field. He lost the ball. Still loose. Who's going to get this? Iowa State was close, but I think Oklahoma covered it. Nope. It's Iowa State ball on the bottom of the pile.
Oklahoma should have had it, but he just couldn't cover it.
Nick Moser has got it, and it's 1st and goal.
Well, that's the break that McCarney was looking for to get this thing turned around. This guy has run back 2 punts for touchdowns and an interception for a touchdown.
I tell you what, he might have had an alley if he could have gotten out right there.
He has big playability. He just put that one on the ground. The ball is wet from all the rain, and it comes out. I thought Perkins got it back, but he didn't.
Moser got it at the 1-yard line. First play run all day in Oklahoma territory. Couldn't be a better spot for the Cyclones. 1st and goal at the Sooner 1-yard line. Rutland stopped short.
No, I don't like that. Yeah, it's too deep. He's lined up too deep. He's dancing around the 5-yard line. You need to run things quickly down here so the defensive line and linebackers are going to be across the line of scrimmage as quickly as they can get there. You don't need anything slow developing in the backfield.
Actually lost about a half yard. Rutland stays in there at the tailback spot. 2nd and goal, Iowa State. Wallace, option, pitch, Rutland. Oh, he just swarmed under a loss of about 3.
Too much speed defensively.
Pasha Jackson, Eric Bassey, they're both there to meet him.
Too much speed from the defense.
There's the pitch, and you can see a lot of crimson and cream coming over there.
4 guys out there. Wilkinson, the defensive end, is even out there.
Now it's 3rd and goal back at the 4. You might want to think quarterback draw here. Or will they put it up? They desperately need points. Do the Cyclones. Wallace, incomplete.
Tried to get it to the wide receiver who had single coverage, and he was jammed at the line of scrimmage. He didn't have a chance.
Flag down. They're talking to Oklahoma as though they have the option here, so apparently it's a legal procedure against Iowa State. Might have been Rutland motion, and it's been declined, so it's 4th and goal at the 4.
The play that got this thing started in the wrong direction for Iowa State was the first play.
That's right.
Lost yardage, then they went backwards from there. An option around the left side, lost yardage.
And McCarney knows he's got to go for it, so does his quarterback. But I'll tell you, if they don't get it in the end zone, this place is going to come unglued. A proud defense that's given up basically nothing today doesn't want to give up a score.
Well, you got to use your strength and get your quarterback, your Heisman candidate, outside the pocket.
We'll find out if they do when we come back. Timeout with 2:27 remaining first half. Iowa State's had one break today go their way as Perkins fumbled on a punt return, and they covered it down at the 1-yard line, and now they find themselves 4th and goal back at the 4 after 3 unsuccessful offensive plays. The officials trying to keep that ball dry at least before the umpire will put it down, and that's where he'll spot it. Both teams come back out. The Cyclones need something to go their way in a lopsided first half. It's been all Oklahoma.
Now expect him to roll out to the wide side of the field this way.
Quick throw on a slant, almost intercepted by Woolfolk. Woolfolk almost had another one, and the Oklahoma defense is held. And it has not been a Heisman half for Seneca Wallace.
He didn't get any help. His man slipped down. He's trying to throw it out here. He's going to run a slant, and the receiver falls down. Come on, somebody's got to help him. I mean, that's, you know, this is one team came to play, and the other team is just having all kinds of problems.
1 of 12. He's thrown twice to the opposition and only 1 completion to his own teammates. And Oklahoma, meanwhile, with Kewan Jones now getting a lot of the work, with Quentin Griffin having scored a couple touchdowns. 2:13 remaining in the half. While we have a moment, we gave you the Aflac trivia question. When was the last time Iowa State defeated Iowa, Nebraska, and Oklahoma in the same season?
What do you say?
I'm not supposed to say first. I'm supposed to give Swanee a chance first because he always complains.
I think I know this one.
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm just taking a wild guess and say it was 1938.
I'm going to say never.
I'm going to say 1960. Never. Oh, boy. You paid for that, Greasy.
No,
I know you did.
I did not.
Jones.
I did not.
But it's about time you got on the scoreboard, Bob.
You got that right.
The last time Iowa State beat Nebraska and Oklahoma in the same season was 1960, but the Iowa one, you guys pulled a fast one on me.
Yes, sir.
So Greasy hits the scoreboard. So far today, Iowa State hasn't hit the scoreboard. 1:30 left in the half. Boy, that's domination.
That's a killer.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's as big a killer as looking at the scoreboard and seeing 35-0. When you get it on the 1-yard line and you can't get it in, that's a killer.
Jones tackled by Karstens.
And what do you tell these guys at halftime?
I don't know. That's a good point.
You got to go out and win the second half. You just got to say, let's go out and play the second half. It was a bad half. We've got the rest of the season that starts in the second half.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Nate Hibble's been pretty efficient today. He's even covered a fumble by one of his teammates. And a 2nd down and 6. Iowa State brings a blitz. Kewan Jones almost ran right by it. Got out close to the first down. Stick. Jeremy Lloyd made the stop. Kewan Jones getting a lot of work now after Quentin Griffin had a couple early touchdowns, and Kewan's got 73 yards and 2 touchdowns himself today. And he's a young fella that came out of Jenks, Oklahoma, and they have won the 6A title in this state so many years in a row. People have quit keeping track. Those 2 running backs and the special teams have been the story, and the dominating defense that Bob and I talked about to open up the show today. It's all come to play today, and it's 35-0. And let's go down to Swanee.
Coach Stoops, it seems like you've done everything that you wanted to do. Good defense, good special teams, with the exception of 1 turnover. Is there anything you're not happy with?
No, just the one turnover. Tremendous defense. Offense, just love it the way we're running the football in this kind of weather. You have to. So we just got to take care of the ball and play smart in the second half.
Can you anticipate any changes Iowa State might make in that second half?
I don't know what they'd be. You know, we're gonna continue to play hard. We got some, you know, we'll try and change up what we're doing a little bit, but you just got to keep tackling well and taking care of the football on offense.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks.
The car's running pretty well. No need for a tune-up. Maybe a warm-up, though, at halftime. John and Terry will be along with the Valvoline halftime show with all the scores and highlights for you. Here, the highlight has been Oklahoma 35-0 at the break. Just about set to start the third quarter in Norman, and it's all Oklahoma 35-0. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Bob Greasy. Only we could be at a game like this where it's total domination by one team, but it has been. The number 2 team in the country looks all of that, don't they?
They do, and last week we saw the number 1 team in Miami, and it's interesting that Oklahoma is looking every bit as good as Miami and maybe even better.
Derek Strait blocked the punt. It was covered for a touchdown, and that was how things started to unravel. Brandon Everidge has been a thorn in Seneca Wallace's side. He sacked him. He's knocked away a potential touchdown. He had an interception there, and then watch the hit he puts on. Boom, right there.
Yeah. And it hasn't been any just one phase of the game. It's been Oklahoma every phase dominating Iowa State.
Seneca Wallace has thrown as many to the opposition as he's thrown to his own teammates. He's 1 out of 12. He's been intercepted twice. I think you can probably throw the Heisman Trophy away, but right now he's just got to figure out, I don't know what, a way to play the second half.
What do you do the second half? What do you do the second half? If you're Oklahoma, you say, hey, let's go out and play that same way, the same intensity. If you're Iowa State, you say, let's just go out and win the second half. You know, we played awful. Let's go out the second half and start the rest of the season this half.
I know Swanee's talked to Dan McCarney about that. Let's head down to the field. Swanee?
And one of the reasons why Dan McCarney has been so successful in bringing this program back is that he's an honest coach. He came off the field. He said, Lynn, you saw the same game we're playing. We didn't execute. We were dominating every phase of the game. He says, we can't revamp what we do offensively. We have to come out and execute. We believe in our kids and what we're doing. We got to find out how much character we have in the second half.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he's got kids of character, and he has built a program almost from scratch and finds himself with the second longest tenure ever for an Iowa State coach. And they know that things aren't going well today, but this is how you find out about your team. Our Pacific Life game summary, the first half, statistically, it is as lopsided as the score would probably indicate. 4 rushing yards for Iowa State and no passing yards.
No passing yards to a guy we're talking about in the opening being a Heisman candidate, but the other side of that is the defense of Oklahoma has been outstanding. 2 turnovers by Iowa State led to 14 points for Oklahoma.
You know, Bob, we talked last year about guys like Roy Williams and Rocky Kalmus and how great they were, and they lose those 2 guys, and they look like the same defense.
Well, Miami is not a better team than they were last year, and Oklahoma defense is not better than Oklahoma's defense last year yet.
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
Offensive leaders, Nate, has been effective, 7 out of 10 for 74 yards, and Griffin and Jones almost carbon copies, both with rushing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and both over 70 yards in the first half, and that makes both backs happy.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
And at 2nd down and 10 as Griffin got nothing on his first carry of the third quarter. Hibble throws out to Peoples, and Peoples drawing a crowd. And he is swarmed under, and you can tell that at least in the first couple of snaps that the Cyclones defense would like to put a licking on the Sooners a little bit here early, if nothing else.
Well, Oklahoma is just dominating, as we said, and the Iowa State, the only chance they had to get on the board was the 1-yard line going in after the blocked, the fumbled punt.
And they didn't get that either.
Didn't get in. Just a total first half for Oklahoma. Couldn't have been better.
So now 3rd down and 6.
Now this is bad. When your jerseys are wet, you're soaked, and you come back out, and after you've been in that warm locker room, now you come back out and it's cold again.
Hibble on 3rd down has plenty of time, but he overshot his intended receiver.
Had a man on his back too, boss.
Yep, he did, and getting a little help up from one of his offensive linemen. So Iowa State did exactly what they wanted to do, force the Sooners into a 3-and-out to open up the third quarter. And Ferguson, who's punted a couple of times today, will be inside his own 10 to take this snap, and that's Todd Miller. Back deep.
This young man Miller's run a couple back for touchdowns too.
Had a 60-yarder for a score earlier this season. Well, and they brought the heat after Ferguson. Didn't get to him, though. Miller, fair catch at the 40-yard line. We might have a halo violation. It was kind of a late fair catch. Peoples was the guy down there trying to put the brakes on. A 36-yard punt. That wasn't the quickest of fair catches, I'll tell you that much. He waited till the last moment.
Gonna have the hand in the air.
There it is quickly.
That was good. No, that was fine.
Yeah, I guess it was.
That was fine.
Boy, I don't know. Sometimes that rule.
Well,
I know why they have it. I agree with it, but
safety of the players.
But Bob and Brad, the idea is whether he fair catches it or not, he still got to give him the same amount of room. He just got down there too hard too soon.
And on a field like this, I can tell you a guy as fast as Peoples has a hard time putting the brakes on. And so this will walk it in to Oklahoma territory. So good field position for Iowa State. They start at the Sooner 48. Wallace on the give. Wagner breaks it open. And that's his best run of the day down to the 34-yard line. He picked up 14. Andre Woolfolk made the tackle. Let's take a look at our Pontiac performance drive summary.
Couple of nasty looking things. Here's the block punt.
That ain't good.
Couple of interceptions, and then the other one is they got the ball on the Oklahoma 1-yard line and couldn't get it in.
That's a Pontiac drive summary in reverse. They forgot to get it in D for drive.
Yep.
And it wasn't even park, it was reverse. Down the middle. There's a good shot inside the 20 on the run. Lance Young.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Iowa State's down close again. 23-yard pickup.
What does this say about Iowa State? A little pride coming out and a little bit embarrassed by how they played the first half. It's the best ball he's thrown. The receiver gets open and the line protected. And now they're down around the 10-yard line.
Lance Young, who started his career at Wisconsin, then transferred to junior college, and now here at Iowa State. First down, 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Wagner popped, yard loss. Jonathan Jackson was there. Dvorak also in on the stop. And look at Brent Venables. He's going, okay, guys, they're down near the 10. Let's push them back again.
Brent coaches the linebackers and coordinates the team along with Mike Stoops, who is in the red jacket right next to him.
Very unique situation. You don't see it often. Co-coordinators and both on the field at the same time. And sometimes you'll see those guys getting ready to rumble. They're intense.
Yeah, they are. And this may be the best staff in all of college football.
I agree, partner. Here comes a blitz. Wallace. Here's where he's dangerous. Throws, knocked down. What a play by Antonio Perkins.
And we're talking about coaching and the best coaching staff. That's just good coaching. This kid's a true sophomore, and he knows that when the receiver in the end zone breaks to the outside, cut in front of him. He sees him break out. He knows the ball's going to be coming. He doesn't have much time. Just break in front of him.
Jimmy Wilkerson, I think, got a hand on that, the defensive end, but that's a super play by a super athlete. They can't even start him. They have to find a way to get him on the field. Punt returner, nickelback, you name it. I'd like to see him at wide receiver.
Yeah, so would the offensive coaches.
And incomplete, intended for Kyle Knock. And it is 4th down.
With the pressure up the middle of it had to back away, throw it off balance, and they're going to kick the field goal.
And I know what folks are thinking, why not go for it when it's 35-0, but right now Dan McCarney wants to get something on the board.
From the right side, the tight end's crossing to the left. Seneca just fell back a little bit, threw it off balance, didn't get it out there.
Adam Beneke is 10 out of 13 on the year. This will be a 29-yard field goal to try to get the Cyclones something, and he does. So not a bad start to the 3rd quarter. The Cyclone defense forces a punt. The offense got close and had to settle for 3. 35-3 Sooners. Finally, something goes right for Iowa State. It's a small step forward, but they have a field goal, 35-3.
Well, they definitely looked like they were coming out and they weren't quitting on the first drive defensively and the first drive offensively.
You know, they were down 24-0 and 31-7 to Florida State in the Eddie Robinson Classic and made it very much a ball game. Whether they're capable of that repeat performance, I don't know. But it's something to think about. And if you're in Ames, it's something to hope for. And nice kick out of the end zone. They'll start at the 20-yard line. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Pontiac. Fuel for the soul. The Hartford, always thinking ahead. And Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. That's what it looks like high up in Memorial Stadium. The rain coming through the lights. And it has been raining throughout this ball game.
Got a little construction going on the far side of the field. They're going to have, add like 10,000 seats.
And on the field, a little destruction going on. Here's the toss. Jones all wrapped up, and again, the Cyclone defense showing some fire. They whip him down for a loss of a couple. And it was Jordan Karstens, who, remember, was banged up earlier. Niswani just had the wind knocked out of him. He's their tough senior captain out of Bagley, Iowa. Big 300-pounder. The defensive co-MVP last year of this team, came in as a walk-on in '99, weighed about 225 pounds, and now he's 6'5", 300. He's eating good. 2nd and 12 from the gun. Hibble on the roll. Nate throws on the run. Overshot his intended receiver, Travis Wilson, way over his head.
And Brad, as soon as he threw that pass, he looked at his hands, you know, because the ball just slipped right out of it. One of the things that occurred at the end of the first half, when they placed the football down, they were drying it off, but it would sit out there for a pretty good while the rain was coming down. The ball sitting out there right now in the middle of the field. They just dried it off, but they still haven't got the play called in the offensive huddle.
Good point.
That ball will be soaking wet by the time the center gets up there and takes a snap.
I used to tell one of the umpires, stay there with your towel over it until the center comes up.
Not only that, the center turns it about 3 times.
Yeah,
right,
then I'd kick him in the butt.
Hibble on the run. Pump fakes and then hits the turf because Jermaine Billups was going to assure that he hit the turf. And it's 3rd down and almost 6.
Yeah, they go up with the punt. And
4th down, excuse me.
4th and 6, yeah. No question, there's no quitting this Iowa State team.
Nope.
They don't know if they can win this game, but all they have to do is just go out and do your best on each drive, each series.
You saw McCarney greeting his defense over there. Each and every man giving him a pat on the helmet because at least they're going to get the ball back and not much time has elapsed. And Ferguson to punt. Trying to get a timeout called. Oklahoma's a man short, I think. At least that'd be my guess because Bob Stoops is going crazy on the sideline. And they do get a timeout called.
You're right. 1 man short.
So 10-14 remaining 3rd quarter. .10-14 remaining in the 3rd. And you can see the rain coming down heavily. 4th down and 6 upcoming for the Oklahoma Sooners, and they were a man short with their punting unit, and that drew the ire of Bob Stoops on the sideline. He let everybody have it pretty much over there.
Yeah, that's not good. When you're, I'm sure his thought coming out was, let's go out and do good the second half the same way we did the first half, and then you make a big mistake like that. That could have been a block punt.
Blake Ferguson will get set to punt it. Todd Miller waits on the other end. And high kick. Miller, fair catch called for, and he has to make a diving catch. The wind got that one a little bit, and at about the 33-yard line is where Iowa State will take over. Dan McCarney and Bob Stoops, good friends, and at one time, McCarney was on Hayden Fry's staff along with a lot of other great coaches. There's the old sly one. Bill Snyder, head coach at Kansas State, was on that staff. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, the head coach. Look at Barry. Barry Alvarez, nice hairdo, Bear. Head coach at Wisconsin. There's Dan McCarney. And now the head man at Iowa State. Chuck Long's the offensive coordinator here at Oklahoma. He was a player at that time. Mike Stoops, co-defensive coordinator, was a player, a strong safety, and they called him Bobby Stoops then. 2-time All Big Ten performer. So Hayden Fry has a family tree in this game today, that's for sure. Seneca Wallace comes up throwing, and it is intercepted. Yes, he got it. At the 46-yard line, it's Everidge again. And it seems like every time Wallace throws, number 7's in the way.
This was a heck of an interception to keep his foot in bounds. Everidge with his second interception of the day, as you mentioned. Watch this, watch his foot. Catches the ball, foot right there.
Oh boy, that's pretty.
Good call, good catch.
And Wallace has thrown 3 interceptions, a career high. 2 today for Brandon, 4 on the season. And remember, he's got a sack. He had a forced fumble on the other interception that Straight had. I'd say he's had a pretty good game.
Pretty good game.
Quentin Griffin swing pass, and he's cut down as he crossed midfield to the 49.
Now, wait a minute. I want to get back to those pictures that you were showing.
Those are good pictures.
Hayden Fry in the group.
Hayden looked good there. Looked sort of like a little bit of a mobster. And we talked to the coach today. I did before the ball game. We wanted to have him on the telecast with us. He was at Iowa last week for the dedication of the Cancer Research Center being named for him. He went to the Iowa-Michigan State game. He yelled so much. I got him on the phone today, and he said, "Brian, how you doing?" He's got laryngitis so bad he was going to come on with us, and we apologize. Coach, we hope you feel better. I think he feels fine other than his voice is shot, and he's out in Nevada right now. They got a place out. He and his lovely wife, I think it's near Mesquite, Nevada, if I'm not mistaken at the name of it. And only Hayden would live someplace where it's called Mesquite because he's out of Texas, and now he's in Nevada, and a great coach, of course, at Iowa for a long, long time. And many good players and good coaches have come from his tutelage.
We showed him, and he said two of my boys are here in this game, McCarney and Stoops.
He said, "I don't know what I'd say about him anyway, Brad." He said, "You just say hi to Bob and Lenny for me." And here comes Hibble. Got a first down run on an option keeper. Nice run, and all of a sudden Hibble's going, "You know what? I love it when they cheer. That sounds a lot better." And they've had reason to cheer today.
Faked a little pitch, just kept it, got up and get the first down. But one of the things we always remember about Hayden Fry, and I'll talk about it after this play.
Trying to come wide. And Jones run out of bounds, loss of about a yard.
We sat in Hayden's office talking offense, talking a lot of plays. And I said, "All right, Hayden, we've talked for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Tell us what you're going to do tomorrow." He says, "Well, Bob," he said, "we're going to scratch where it itches."
Scratch where it itches. That's all he ever told us, other than about 15 jokes over the course of an hour.
We learned about 15 jokes and scratch where it itches.
Yep.
That's Hayden.
That's how much we got. He wasn't going game plan with us, but we sure had a lot of fun in that office. Second down at 12. Loss of a couple by Griffin. 3 wide out group. And that's Travis Wilson in motion. Hibble, here comes a blitz. Throwing it down the seam, incomplete. Wilson was the intended receiver. And that's going to be 3rd down and long. Coming up next Saturday, we've got a terrific doubleheader for you. Noon Eastern. Swanee and Bob and I will be down in Tallahassee. Florida State's got the weekend off. Notre Dame's got a big date with Air Force tonight. If they win that one, either way, it's a big game.
Oh,
a lot of you will see the Cyclones against number 8 Texas, plus other regional action. Check the local listings for the game that you'll see. 3rd down and 12. Again, Iowa State looks like they're going to load it up and bring some pressure, and they will. And it worked. Oh, man. Helmets flying. Brandon Brown, the first one there. And that's Nate's head. Well, that's his helmet. His head's still on his shoulders. That's a good sign. Whoa, look at him. He just exhaled like, wow, that was a pretty good shot. Watch this hit.
That's Brandon Brown, the middle linebacker, coming.
So you want to play quarterback.
Yeah. Smith from the other side.
Forget it. Nate's, we were talking to the coaches the other day, a tough guy. He bounces right back up even without his headgear. And now Ferguson's punt. Miller's trying to clear everybody out of the way. And this will roll to a stop at about the 17-yard line. So before the Cyclones take over on offense, let's head to Times Square Stadium in New York. Here's John.
Brad, USC is just taking this game against Washington and running away with it. Carson Palmer, plenty of time to set up. 11 yards to Mike Williams. That's his 3rd touchdown reception of the day. And right now, USC blowing out Washington 31-7. Brad.
Wow. All USC in that one. All Oklahoma in this one. 35-3. But the Cyclones have played much better this 7.5 minutes than they did the first 2 quarters. Oh, man. Jonathan Jackson said hello to Hiawatha Rutland.
One other story on Hayden.
He just thought of another one during the timeout.
We come here, and one of the traits of Bob Stoops is he's got all these gimmick plays, all these tricks. Last week against Texas, he tried the old end around, the old
kind of a fumble-rooski, right? Yep.
And he had the fake field goal against Missouri that they scored on. Well, Hayden was famous for trick plays.
No doubt about that. 2nd and 12. Wallace flush. Here comes Everidge. Had a hand on him, couldn't get him, but his teammates did. Shelby brings him down. No gain on the play. I tell you what, Seneca Wallace is going to be seeing 7s in his sleep, and it wasn't on the crap table. Holy mackerel. Brandon Everidge had a game today.
Number 7 right there, coming from the lower side of the screen. I don't know how he got away from it.
I don't either. Shows his elusiveness, but still.
Everidge has been all over the place.
3rd down's been horrible.
And they came in
Number 1.
leading the conference.
At almost 49%. Today they're 0 for. Quick throw. Incomplete. Too far in front of the intended receiver, Jack Whitmer. And it's time to give it up.
I know the weather is not good, but you got to give some kind of credit to this defense for shutting down a pretty good offense on 3rd down situations. Like you say, they're 0 for.
And now they've got a kick from their own goal line again. They're very close to it. Perkins waiting on the other end. Tony Yelks had 1 blocked, 1 tipped. And now he stands in his own 1-yard line. Good kick this time. Perkins has to go way back, and it goes out of bounds before he can get to it.
He's doing a great job of kicking away from Perkins.
Sure is. That one goes out at the 38-yard line. We talked about Notre Dame next week against Florida State. Tonight they've got a date with Air Force on the road, a late start. You'll see that game on ESPN, but they've had some dandies in the series between the 2 teams. Let's pick up Keith Jackson.
Whatever wind there is at his back. Snap, hold, kick, partially blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked. I don't know who got it for sure, but somebody got a hand on it, and it is blocked.
Somebody got a hand on it.
Oh, Nelly, I go.
Oh, boy. Air Force and Notre Dame tonight on ESPN.
Keith won't be doing that one, by the way.
No, Keith won't be doing that one. But that's a 10 o'clock Eastern start. Here's a pass incomplete. Remember, though, Fisher DeBerry might have the best team he's ever had, and they are actually considered a favorite at home in that ball game against Notre Dame.
How about Chance? Was it Harridge?
Harridge, yep.
The quarterback for Air Force.
They keep saying, he might be the best one ever to run their wing bone offense, and I keep saying, boy, there's been Bo Morgan and all them other guys. If this guy's better, then he's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and he is outstanding. He wants to be a fighter pilot. He says, I've never been in a jet yet. He says, but I can't wait.
Well, he'll get his chance to get in some fuel of the fire tonight.
He'll get into some fire tonight.
2nd and 10. Griffin battling for a couple yards.
And how about the Irish? Notre Dame, what, 112 offensively?
Something like that.
How are they winning games?
They have got almost exactly half of their points this year. Half of their total points have come from special teams and defense, and that is phenomenal. I think they've got 137 total points in the first 6 games of the season, and they've been winning and winning close and winning with defense and winning with special teams.
Yeah. They're winning, and then I see the BCS poll. Some of the computers on the BCS poll, the New York Times and all that, they've got them ranked 1. They're ranked 1st in a couple and 2nd in a couple other ones. I don't know about that.
I don't either.
I don't know if they're that good.
Here's a throw out complete. And Travis Wilson, he's got a 1st down. Nice run after the catch. Travis Wilson, another one of the young wide receivers, freshman out of Carrollton, Texas.
He's going to get some opportunity to play next year when these guys graduate. Oh, he did nice job.
That's tough.
He knew where the 1st down marker was, and he got hit 2 or 3 times and didn't go down.
He got 9 on a 3rd and 8, and he got a first down. So now Oklahoma, with 4:45 remaining in the 3rd, leading 35-3. They can go back to the ground game. And they will. Jones got a couple. Brandon Brown and Anthony Forrest in on the stop.
Making stop is Brandon Brown.
Bob and Brad, I think as we watch the Oklahoma offense out here on the field in the second half, this is one of the toughest situations for a team to be in, to have this kind of lead and keep that focus. You're dominating a football team. Everything you seem to do is right, but the coaches want you to come out and focus so that you can dominate and just continue to play great football. It's just hard for the players to keep that attitude and focus.
It is. It's hard to do that. It's hard when you're ahead 35-3 to come out and play as hard, and it's hard when you're behind 35-3.
Hibble had to pull it down. He was going to let it go, and at the very last second, apparently, whoever was his intended receiver was covered, and Karstens knocks him down.
It's hard when you're behind because you know you're not going to win. The chances of coming back on a good Oklahoma defense is not very good. So it's really hard to come out and play the way you would like to.
Well, this is a time when you have talented backups. You put them in the ball game because they're a little hungrier. They want their chance to come out and play hard and play well.
Exactly.
That's what I thought the situation was last night with Fresno State and Boise State. And then I realized the starting quarterback's still in there with 7 minutes left, and it's about 60-20.
I think you had to know a little bit more about the series, partner.
I think I figured that out this morning. Hibble deep, got his man, Antoine Savage down to the 25. First down, Oklahoma. 31 yards.
Savage is one of those seniors that's going to be graduating. He came in with 128 receptions and 10 touchdowns.
His big season was the national championship season when he had 48 catches. Here he is down the middle, wide open.
Good protection, wide open, right in the middle of that zone.
Nate Hibbles hit 7 different receivers. Nice play fake, got rid of it just before he's hit and almost got his fullback out in the flat, but he took a big shot. You wonder how Nate's golf swing is as good as it is, as many times he gets it between the shoulder blades.
It's pretty good, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And he's been hit today, sacked twice, hit and knocked down on several other occasions.
Last time on that last play, Brad, he got up looking like Grandpa McCoy with a little limp to his giddy up.
Pick up a 2 by Kewan Jones. That's when Grandpa Jones used to say, Lucas, the bond's on fire. The bond's on fire. It's kind of on fire today, 35-3. Total yardage is obviously as lopsided as you might expect. And even with that, you add that to the fact of a short field for Oklahoma a couple of times because of their special teams, and then once when they fell on a block punt in the first couple of minutes of the ball game for a touchdown. They don't need a lot of yards today. There's field position and everything else going their direction right now. 2 minutes 4 seconds remaining, third quarter. Sooners by 32. Tough day for Seneca Wallace, the Iowa State quarterback, and Swanee and Bob and I don't like getting involved in all the Heisman things until at least mid-season. We figure that's fair. We got wrapped up in this kid this week, but 2 for 17 with a couple interceptions is not a good day, that's for sure.
Hey, you can have a bad day and come back. I remember back in 1966, I threw 5 interceptions. I threw 5 interceptions against Illinois.
What did Spurrier do that day, though?
He did very well.
Okay, see, there you go. That 1 week swing's not good.
That's right.
Hibble throws on the run. Oh, Trent Smith dropped it. And he knows he dropped it. That was right on the money, and he's a sure-handed tight end and one of the captains who just couldn't hold on to it. So that'll bring up a 4th down.
Now we know this is normally field goal territory, but Bob Stoops is quickly gaining a reputation for Kind of, shooting from the hip, going with his gut feeling. We saw those 2 fourth down plays he had in the first half. Now it's 4th down again, a long way. He's still pushing it in.
Would have been about a 40-yard kick for his freshman kicker. They'll go on 4th down and 8. Hibble pumps once, now goes to the end zone. Got him! Touchdown! Brandon Jones. Center fielder on the baseball team, and he just hung in with this one and put a glove up on it.
Well, he's covered right here. It's just that the defensive back, Austin, doesn't see the ball. Number 21, he just gets lost, and they stay with it, and he gets a touchdown out of it. Ball's thrown up, Austin loses it, Paris gets there late, and it's an easy touchdown.
Extra point by DiCarlo. Up and good.
Seneca Wallace threw a ball just like that earlier in the ball game, and it was picked off by Strait.
Right.
This time, the offensive guy makes the play. The defensive back doesn't see it.
Talking with the coaches yesterday, and they were telling Lynn and I, when this kid finds out how good a football player he can be, then look out, because he's 6'3" and 210 pounds, and I'm talking about Brandon Jones, the sophomore on Texarkana, Texas. So Oklahoma against 13th ranked Iowa State. They thought they'd have their hands full. Quite frankly, they're taking care of business, but it's
they get a week off. They're off next week. Then they have Colorado at home. They have 3 games on the road. And this one would be the one, I think, right there.
Well, Oklahoma State got Nebraska today. They got Oklahoma last year. It would be a payback game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And then if they could get through all those hurdles, then it's the Big 12 championship.
Right. It's an extra game they have to play.
And getting through that one, and then you're looking at Fiesta.
And, it's interesting. Last week we saw Miami. We saw how good they were. Last year, Miami had a couple of squeakers. They had one up at Virginia Tech, and they had one against Boston College. This year, they had a squeaker against Florida State last week. Oklahoma, going through the schedule, they're looking pretty good to me.
They are. Cuba to kick high and short again. They can't bunt it at the 19. Todd Miller does. Miller trying to weave his way through the traffic and got out to about the 33-yard line. Coming up on Monday nights, Al Michaels and John Madden will be along in Pittsburgh. Jerome Bettis and Tommy Maddox and the Steelers host the Colts in their triple threat offense of Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and Edgerrin James. Monday night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Don't forget, cast your vote for Monday Night Football's greatest game at ESPN.com. Keyword MNF500 or NFL.com.
The wheels on the bus go round and round.
There's a couple good backs. Jerome Bettis passed O.J. Simpson on the all-time rushing list last week. That's amazing. Sometimes you forget how good he's been and how solid he's been.
How can you do a promo about the Colts without mentioning Peyton Manning?
Well, I did, sort of.
You did.
I said they're triple threat. Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
That Monday night game is also a little bit of a homecoming because the coach of the Colts is Tony Dungy. He's coming back to Pittsburgh where he played.
There you go.
And Bob says something, and the truck's got something to say back.
That's my man right there.
Since '98, Peyton has thrown more touchdown passes than anybody else. If you get down in a real nitty-gritty situation, I'd take that guy in the number 2 spot there.
Oh, would you now?
I would. I'd take him. He's one guy I love to watch play. Brett Favre. Man. Here's Wallace taking it himself. And Seneca might have gotten a yard.
See, this is what we expected to see a lot more of early on, but they couldn't do it because they didn't make first downs.
Right. And it's 3rd down and 9 again. And that pretty much tells what you're just talking about.
You know, that speaks a little bit for the weather because it's not good, but a lot for Oklahoma defensively because the teams are going to find that this defense is going to be tougher and tougher as the season goes on.
You can see some folks are saying, I'm going to find a warm pub to watch the 4th quarter. 3rd and 9. Wallace in trouble, and down he goes. The guy that caused it, though Shelby got it, was Brandon Everidge, number 7. Shelby gets credit, but Brandon Everidge has been a rocket wearing 7 today.
Came off the edge again, and this is another tribute to the coaches defensively. They change up. They change up. He's over here, number 7. They change up their defense a little bit in the second half, so you don't, whatever you plan for at halftime, you're not going to see the same thing coming out the second half.
I don't know. I've seen a defensive back have a better game than this kid. Yelp to punt. Antonio Perkins waits on the other end. This could be returnable. Let's see what Perkins does. Finds the handle, first of all, from the 18. Antonio Perkins breaks outside. Got a block. Got the corner. Flags are down. It's going to be an illegal block. It'll negate a nice return. Somebody just didn't quite get a hat in front of the shoulder on one of those blocks going to the outside. And it's going to take back a 35-yard return after a 52-yard kick.
Push in the back.
So they'll bring it all back. You could see it. He got one that was clean, but the second one wasn't.
Right here.
Yep, just get, if you can't see in front of his numbers or the front of his helmet, you might as well just get out of the way. And it was close. A nice try. And so they'll bring it back to, let's see, they'll walk it off down near the 25 somewhere.
But you know, guys, it's such a helpless feeling. When you're that guy blocking in the back, you're trying to help your guy back there, trying to spring him loose, and you're right there. If you don't block him, then you got to stand there from behind that defensive guy and just watch him nail your return man.
Right, and then you're going to get ripped in films, you know, on Sunday or Monday.
Swanee, how you doing down there? You staying warm?
I'm not very warm, and I'm not very dry.
You're starting to sound nasal, partner.
Yeah, you sound like you're a little bit further away.
Well, you know, it's that first cold of the year.
I already had that. Don't get me started on that. I've been coughing through games for 2 weeks. I don't want another one. Quentin Griffin.
You know, all these guys, all of us have been in very cold weather. Now, this is our first kind of cold game of the year, first time maybe standing out in that cold weather. So what happens is we feel a little much colder than what we really are. Your body's just not used to it, you see, and my brain's not functioning. I'm looking over here, and there's a camera over here.
I like the raincoat, though. If we could get you an umbrella and a big handful of salt.
I'm making a statement over here.
Swanee's the Morton Salt Man down there. End of 3. 42-3, Oklahoma. ABC Sports presentation of college football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. One field goal for Iowa State through 3 quarters, and that's it. The rest has been Oklahoma. A couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, 3 more in the second. They've added a touchdown pass from Nate Hibble to Brandon Jones in the third, and now we start the fourth. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our wet ABC crew in Norman. The Sooners have been impressive. Hibble in and out of the hand, should have been caught. Mark Clayton just didn't hold it. Billups was there to meet him. That's a fourth drop ball today, and the weather conditions have a lot to do with that. But statistically, Hibble probably won't look as good when it's all over as he actually should. He's been very efficient, ran for a couple of first downs. He's 12 out of 22 right now.
One thing I always enjoyed about playing in a game like this where the ball's wet and everybody's slipping is getting to practice the next week and the next game the following week and having a dry ball where you can control it. It doesn't get much worse in wet, cold, and windy.
And they, as Bob said, have a week off to prepare for Colorado. There's a nice throw and a nice catch at the 41-yard line. Antoine Savage. And Antoine Savage, the old man of the receiving corps, if you will, with a couple nice grabs in the second half.
And Nate Hibble doesn't seem to be having much problem gripping or throwing the ball. That makes me feel as though he must have large hands, because to throw a wet ball, you got to have large hands.
Well, I think after you brought that up to Chuck Long, Bob, he must have gone out and checked it out to make sure.
Well, Chuck was telling us yesterday that they had wet balls. They just dunk them in a bucket of water, even if it's not a rainy day, a rainy practice day. When you're expecting rain on the weekend, they just dunk them in water and said, hey, throw this ball.
Kewan Jones with a carry. And Chuck, we asked him, we were saying, what about Nate? and the grip on the ball. He said, you know what? I've been around the kid forever. I got to go and check and see how big his hands are. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, now, Bob, how much heavier is that football when it gets soaked?
It is heavy. Once they get soaked, if they keep changing them and put fresh ones in it, but by the second half, if it's really raining and they don't change the balls at halftime, your arms will get sore.
Second down, play action. Hibble's in trouble, and down he goes. Jeremy Lloyd got him.
Yeah, that was a one-man route, and they had him double covered downfield. He had anybody else to throw to.
I'll tell you some guys that have not quit playing today. 41 is one of them. Brandon Brown, 33, another one of the linebackers, and Jordan Karstens, a defensive tackle who was shaken up early. They're still out there, and they're still plugging away. As you were mentioning earlier, this is not an easy situation to be in. You know that it's pretty much over, but your pride won't let you believe that, and this is going to be the first loss in conference play this year for Iowa State in about 13 minutes.
As bad as it looks, it's only one loss in conference.
Whoops. And there shows the wet ball. And
just as we talk about him having no problems with the grip and the ball.
You can see him looking at it. He's saying, man, I wish we'd get one dry one out here. Snap was a little wide, and then just just like a bar of soap.
Yep. That ball looked like it was wetter because it was darker.
Oh, look at how dark it is.
Yeah.
That baby's soaked.
It looked like it's much wetter than the other balls they've been rotating in.
Yeah, they ought to throw that one right in the tunnel.
Yeah, they ought to do like baseball. You know, the catcher looks at it and says, hey, I don't like this ball. The pitcher says, I don't like, give me a new one.
Exactly.
If I were Nate, I'd take that off with me. Just say,
it's my game ball.
Throw this one away.
Ferguson set to punt. Oklahoma adjusting their front a little bit, trying to prevent any kind of block, although it looks like the return's on for the Cyclones anyway. Ferguson hung it high, and Miller will take it. No fair catch this time. And down he goes. He might have gotten two on the return. They don't give up anything. James Moses down there on the coverage. Nice punt, good coverage, and all Oklahoma 42-3. In Norman, 42-3. 12:06 to play. Seneca Wallace from the shotgun for Iowa State. And nice run that time by Brian Thompson, who just checked in out to the 35-yard line. Iowa State knows that they can't pass on every down, or the Oklahoma defense will just pin their ears back and try to take Wallace' head off, but they've done a pretty good job of that anyway today, with not only their special teams but their defense. There's inside the numbers.
Look at
their
this.
Defense.
Third down conversions, 0 of 10. Quarterback percentage, completion percentage, 11%. They only have 37 yards of total offense.
Here comes a blitz. Here's the option, pitch out, and the speed of Oklahoma runs down Rutland. You know, thinking about that, Bob, reminds me of Swanee, and you and I were sitting in with Mike Stoops and Brent Venables yesterday in their office, and I looked down as we were about ready to leave their office, and they had a huge defensive goal board. It was the 2001 version, but they go down and they have 10 categories for each ball game and for every opponent. I think in the year 2001, the only time that they had little Oklahoma Sooner helmets all the way across was against Tulsa. And I said to Mike, I said, how'd you do this year? He said, every game on our defensive goals, we've had either 7 or 8 of the 10. We'll take it. I'd be willing to bet you they might have 10 when this one's over.
They may have 10. I don't know where they wouldn't.
Wallace fires, tips in. Is it intercepted? I think so. Corey Klein.
A defensive lineman.
They're going to say no.
Well, a great effort by Klein just to get back there.
I thought he had it close, really close.
Well, when you talk about the speed that Oklahoma recruits, there was a great example of big man being able to run that fast downfield.
There's the tip. Well, you know what? He got his arms under it, but it kind of squirted through as he was rolling over, I think. And the fans here booing because they're getting another look.
Corey's 285 pounds. I don't think he catches many balls at practice either. No, I don't think that way. I don't think he caught it.
I tell you what, he did a great acting job and almost got it. 11th series for Iowa State without a first down. And then trying to keep the punt away from Perkins. It's yanked out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. 11:06 to play in the ball game. These teams haven't played in the last couple years in this series. That is in its 71st meeting. And right now, Iowa State would just assume that they would have been able to skip the 71st meeting. It's been all Oklahoma today. Griffin.
Number 22,
got about
the
2.
ball carrier.
Eric Anderson made the stop. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Seneca Wallace, that is about as bad an afternoon as you can have. And Griffin and Jones, 158 yards and 4 touchdowns between them. And then if you add that to Brandon Everidge, maybe playing the best game as a defensive back that we've seen in a while, and a block punt and a 310-41 total yardage advantage, and it's an Oklahoma team rolling in the right direction with a week off coming before Colorado. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. And they're mostly injury-free, healthy.
Kewan Jones, he and Griffin continue to alternate the tailback spot, both getting a lot of work today.
I'm impressed with the job that Bob Stoops has done since he's been here. You know, if he continues this year, they got a shot at being in Tempe and another shot in the national championship.
Well, one of the things I think, since we're talking national championship, and Miami is ranked #1, that Miami and Oklahoma have in common is the excellence in their coaching staff and how much time they spend coaching their kids on the fundamentals of football. They never lose sight of the fundamentals. Every practice session starts out with fundamentals with every position.
That's a good point, Swanee. This is an Oklahoma team that knows how to tackle. We've seen, not just at this level, but in the NFL, shoddy tackling, it seems like, and this team knows how to hit people and wrap people up. And what Bob was saying 2 years ago, you know, they were national champions, and we asked Bob Stoops yesterday, he said, Coach, how good are you? Can you get back to the pinnacle? Can you win it again this year?
All we do is focus on what's in front of us. We have a huge game here with Iowa State. And, you know, having done it and been down this road before, that's been our focus. Concentrate and worry about what's in front of you. The media, the public all want to lead you down the road. They don't have to play. We have to play. So we really fully engross ourselves in what's dead in front of us, and that's Iowa State, and we'll take it from there, you know, as it comes. And, and usually if you take care of your business that way, you're in good shape.
There's the key line. If you take care of your business every week, then at the end of it, then the goal and the end of the rainbow could be there.
And he was a defensive back. His brother, Mike, was a defensive back at Iowa, and their brother, Mark, is a defensive backfield coach at Miami.
That's right.
So, and you know, they've got great fundamentals. They got great tackling. So it all runs in the family.
All came from their dad, who was a longtime coach. Here's Quentin Griffin, finding a little room. Got down to the 48-yard line before Tyson Smith finally stayed with him. 6 more for Quentin Griffin, and he's close to 100, and he's down. Well, he's okay. Now, this is the #2 team in the country. #1 Miami's idle. Virginia Tech has won. Ohio State, the last we heard, was behind Wisconsin. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1914.
All right. Georgia won. They beat Vanderbilt. Oregon is winning. Notre Dame plays Air Force tonight. Texas plays tonight as well.
Watch out for that one. Kansas State.
And Michigan and NC State both victorious today. Michigan beat Purdue, and NC State is still undefeated. They are 8-0. Quentin Griffin, there he goes again. And now he's thinking, although I don't think he thinks this way, he's thinking 100 yards right now because he's running like he did in the first quarter.
And I think that's why he's in there when the game is 42-3 with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I think they'd like to get him 100 yards. But getting back to Stoops, talking about his coaching and everything, we asked him yesterday, he said, who do you model your coaching at? Who do you admire? Who do you look up to? And he said, first of all, my dad, who was a coach back in Youngstown, Ohio. And he said, secondly, Steve Spurrier. So I have a lot of respect and regard for what Steve, the way he coached, and I see a lot of Steve in him.
Yep. First down run, Griffin out of there, and Jones in there. He might get both of them 100 before this game's over. 7:38 remaining.
You know, we were talking to Bob yesterday, and it said, you know, six years ago, you're sitting as a defensive coordinator in a cubicle back in Gainesville, coaching with Spurrier. Would you ever think that down the road, 6 years from that time, that you would have had the opportunity to be the head coach at Ohio State, Cleveland Browns, Notre Dame,
down the list,
the University of Florida?
Right.
I mean, you talk about some choice spots.
You saw the quick updates. We just flipped Ohio State into the winning category, not having won, but winning. And Oregon going from being up to being down. So we just wanted to update you on that while we were talking about it. And maybe a yard for Griffin, who's got about 98. Karstens and Coleman combined on the stop.
Let me ask you a question. We've seen these top teams. We've seen Miami. We've seen Va-Tech.
Right.
We've seen Oklahoma. And we've seen Ohio State. Who would you put in the top game right now?
Whew, that's a loaded question now. Miami did not play particularly well when we saw them last week, but they showed their championship medal in the last 8 minutes, so they're still undefeated.
Right.
So they got to be there.
Yeah.
And Ohio State early we saw them, and they were pretty impressive.
Against Texas Tech.
Yeah. I think
early in the year.
I'd put Oklahoma a little bit in front of them. The thing about Virginia Tech, I guess the wild card is that what Miami seems to have trouble with is a team that can run. And they got two guys that can run.
Right.
And their defense is awful good.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm kind of hedging, but
and their special teams are good. Well, let me give you my shake on it.
Okay.
I think right now it's Miami and Oklahoma, but I think Va-Tech, by the time the end of the season comes, I think the only weakness for them is the passing of their young quarterback.
Yep. That's
and
right.
I think by the end of the season, when they have to go to the Orange Bowl and play Miami, there's no question they got the tandem-wise, the two best running backs on the same team in the country. And after what Greg Jones of Florida State did to Miami last week, over 200 yards, that probably caught a lot of people's eyes on how to control Miami.
And we can tell you this much, that on December 7th on ABC, you'll see the Big 12 championship, and with all likelihood, a team coming out of there will go to the Fiesta Bowl, and also on December 7th on ABC, you'll see Miami and Virginia Tech from the Orange Bowl, and with a lot of forethought, we kind of expect that maybe that will determine who the other combatant will be in the national championship. So as we look down the road, if everything goes as everybody thinks it's going to go, that's a heck of a day of football. Griffin got about 3, and that should put him over 100, while we remind you that Al and John will be in Pittsburgh Heinz Field on Monday nights. The Colts and the Steelers, Swanee's old club. Peyton Manning and company coming to town Monday night at 9, 6 Pacific. Don't forget, cast your vote for Monday Night Football's greatest game, too, at ESPN.com. Keyword MNF500 or NFL.com. And Quentin Griffin is over 100 yards for the 9th time in his career.
I'm sure a lot of people are asking, why is he still in there? Well, I'm not going to second guess Stoops. He's been calling everything pretty good,
I'd say,
the last few years around here.
And here he comes again. And there he goes again. And now maybe they pull him and say, Kiwan, you go get your 100, and then we're going to the locker room to warm up.
Bob and Brad, I just want to throw one other point in there. You're talking about the national championship picture and who might be the top team. As you watch Quentin Griffin run right here, one of the things that all the guys, all the teams you talked about have in common, and I'm going to exclude Ohio State as I would not put them in that category, is that they all have great defenses. And we talk about the offenses all the time, but I think it's the great defenses that put them in position to win national championships.
Well, that's a good point, Swanee. And Oklahoma's defense couldn't have played much better today than they did. Remember, they prevented a touchdown on a 1st and goal in the late stages of the second quarter, and have given up only a field goal today. This is a prideful unit the Sooners have. Time permitting, reminder, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. John and Terry on scores and highlights from across the country from a lot of the aforementioned games that we talked about in the top 25 today. Thrifty post-game reports, if we have time following our ball game. We only have 4:13 left here. 11th play of the drive. coming up. First down and 15. Trent Smith in motion. Here comes a blitz from the Cyclones. Ronaldo works, gets a carry, and gets run out of bounds, and a flag flies in. Penalty marker down with 3:56 remaining. John Laurie, our referee today. Personal foul, face mask against Iowa State. That is their first penalty. They were first in the conference in the Big 12 in penalties, or I should say least penalized team.
Right there. Yeah, Karsten's inadvertently.
Boy, he just barely got it too. He had him around the collar of the shoulder pads, and then his hand just sort of slipped into the face mask. Ohio State has beaten Wisconsin 19-14. So Ohio State remains one of the unbeatens in the country. Somebody's going to fall. There were 10 starting the day, and we know that there'll be less than that because two of them, Air Force and Notre Dame, meet tonight. That game's on ESPN. So we know there'll be less than 10. Ohio State's held up their end. Oklahoma's obviously holding up its end. And here's Works again.
Oh, I'm excited about Monday. I can't wait for Monday come. BCS poll comes out.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Then all that stuff starts all over again, huh?
Well, you talked earlier about Notre Dame and the fact that a lot of people have them ranked so high in the preliminary BCS because of the computer polls. That's because the margin of victory that used to be one of the big factors in there, and they've had a lot of close games. Now, if you'd have put that back in there last year, I don't think they'd be sitting at #1 in 2 or 3 people's opinions.
They've thrown that out this year. The margin of victory is not allowed. Last year, it was allowed up to 21 points, and I think that was good, just because of what we're seeing this year. Notre Dame, a lot of close wins.
Works, cut back, step on. Touchdown! Ronaldo works his way to the end zone. "11-yard scoring run. And for Iowa State, it's a good thing there isn't a margin of victory, because it's a 48-3 game with 3 minutes left. With exactly 3 minutes left in the ball game. Trey DiCarlo in for the point after. He's had a perfect day kicking the football. Nice and easy on those extra points. It's 49-3. Number 2, Oklahoma, getting all their running backs a little time. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. Old Navy Painter's Pants, the handyman's classic. And Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and a few thousand fans remaining on a wet, windy, cold day in Norman, Oklahoma, where the number 2 Sooners are rolling big. And the Cyclones of Iowa State. Miller on a kick return, got it out to the 22-yard line. He's buried there. And we're down to 2:50 remaining in the ball game. Final chance probably for the Cyclones offense when we come back. Little under 3 minutes left, and Iowa State offensively from its own 22-yard line. Seneca Wallace has had a terrible day. 2 of 19, 3 interceptions. This one he snuck in there. Nice throw. Pickup of 10, almost 11 to Lance Young. So finally he's completed as many to his own teammates as he has to the Sooners defense.
That's cold, partner.
Well, I didn't mean it to sound that way, but that's as cold as it's been for him today.
He's had a great year already, and he had a good year last year, and he helped turn this program around.
Boy, did he ever. And wow, big hit put on out there.
Dan McCarney was the guy that really turned this program around. This year, look at what they did this year. They started off unranked. The loss to Florida State, they were still unranked after the win at Kansas, and then beating Iowa for the 5th time in a row, got them ranked at 24th, and they got all the way up to 13th prior to this one in the USA Today poll.
Highest ranking they've ever hit, and they're going to fall to 6-2, but there's a lot of teams that would have suffered the same problems today, I think, against Oklahoma. Flag down at the line of scrimmage. You know, Dan McCarney, when he came in here 8 years ago, you couldn't find too many people that were too worried about Iowa State football, and now he's 4th on the all-time wins list, and probably early next year will pass Clay Stapleton as the all-time leader in victories. And this stretch that they're in right now, they're going to fall to 22-10 in the last 32 games. But if you just take a 32-game stretch and see what they've done in the last 3 years, you'd have to go back to 1910 to find an Iowa State team that's done this well. So while this is a bad day today, there will be better days ahead, you can bet. And that's the guy that's the reason, as he's built this program from scratch, and he's done it right. And he's done it the tough way when sometimes people didn't think he was going to be around long enough. And credit the folks at Iowa State for giving him the time to build this team up.
This team only won 6 games on the road in the decade of the 90s.
And on 3rd and short, they don't get it. Brian Thompson carrying, and Eric Hillier was the guy that made the stop, and they're 0 for 12 on 3rd down conversions today.
Yeah, and they were the best coming in.
Yep.
Boys, I'll give you one more indicator.
We'll check in with you in a second, Swanee. Reminder, next week a doubleheader at noon. It's Notre Dame and Florida State, and Lynn and Bob and I will be there. Then at 3:30, the Cyclones will take on Texas, plus other regional action. So the road doesn't get any easier for Iowa State. They probably have the toughest schedule from here on out of any team in the country. They knew that starting with this game today. And here they come on 4th and 1, and they will not get it. Oklahoma's defense just will not give in. Lynn Magruder is there to make the stop, and the Sooners will take over on down.
Well, as you said, there'll be another day for Dan McCarney and Iowa State. But this has been Oklahoma right from the get-go, from the first possession. When they blocked the punt for Iowa State, it was all Oklahoma.
It sure was.
Well, guys, I told you I was going to give you one more indicator. Today is homecoming for Oklahoma. And usually you like to play against a team you think you're going to do well against. All the folks come in. Iowa State was a perennial homecoming team for a lot of teams. In 1996, they were the homecoming team for 5 games. This year, this is the only homecoming game they play away.
Yeah, you want to stay away from them now, but today, I don't think it would have mattered maybe who Oklahoma played. I'm not sure. They're just a minute away as Paul Thompson took the snap in at quarterback, 49-3.
McCarney has 40 of the top 48 players back from this year's team, so I think the rebuilding on this program is well in place.
Second down. Thompson giving off to Hickson. And another back getting some time. Gets down to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 5. Might have one more play left in the ball game. Today's Chevrolet players of the game. For Oklahoma, Brandon Everidge. I don't know that I'd seen a better outing by a defensive back. 2 interceptions, a sack, a forced fumble. And Jordan Karstens, a captain who has hung tough, was banged up early, but stayed in there and was one of the leading tacklers today for Iowa State. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Our congratulations to those guys, and our congratulations to Oklahoma. They win it big. They go to 7-0. They're perfect with a week off, and then Colorado in next. Dan McCarney's 6-game winning streak goes by the boards, but at 6-2, this is still very much a team to be reckoned with. And the old friends that all started at Iowa together, shaking hands and hugging. It was a tough game and a tough loss for Iowa State, but it was a very, very impressive win for Oklahoma. Let's check in with Swanee.
Well, Coach, a dominating performance. You look at this kind of a ball game, and when you talk to the team, what are the things you talk about and discuss?
These guys, it's the best. It's just like we said, hitting our stride, hitting our peak when we need to. And I like this team. We're coming together. We're really starting to hit it. And guys like Brandon Everidge making a lot of big plays.
Well, to jump right over to Brandon. Brandon, it's a phenomenal football game for you. Was it the defense that put you in position, or did you just go after it?
Well, we had emphasized all week that we had to stop their quarterback. And our offense showed up, and we just came together as a group, and we just played our game.
Absolutely a great performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. All right, Bucks, my man.
All right, fellas, Oklahoma still unbeaten, untied, and undaunted in their quest to be a national champion again. The number 2 team in the country rolls and rolls big. 49-3 is the final. All Sooners. It was a heck of a homecoming. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Reminder to stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report after this from your ABC stations. For Lynn Swan, Bob Greasy, and our entire ABC crew, Brad Nessler from Norman on a rainy day. See you in Tallahassee next Saturday. So long, everybody.
Quarter scoreless. Cyclones punting. It is blocked by Derek Strait. Ball goes into the end zone, and Terrence Sims is there to cover it up for the Sooners. 7-0 Oklahoma. And then Quentin Griffin decides to go to work. Griffin keeps his balance. He's in the house. 14-0 Sooners. Are you feeling the beat-down vibe? Because it is coming on big. Second quarter, Oklahoma at the Cyclone 4. Pitch to Griffin. Looked like a hurdle, and he's in the house. Still in the second quarter, Seneca Wallace wants to go downfield. That was a bad decision. He's picked off by Brandon Everidge. Wallace, an awful first half, 1 for 12, no yards, 2 picks. And it's kind of easy to see why Oklahoma just beat down Iowa State. 49-3 is the final. Nate Hibble, 14 for 24, $168, 1 touchdown. Griffin doing a lot of the work, 111 yards on the day, 2 TDs. Our Lynn Swan caught up with Brandon Everidge and Bob Stoops after it was over.
Coach, a dominating performance. You look at this kind of a ball game, and when you talk to the team, what are the things you talk about and discuss?
These guys, it's the best. It's just like we said, hitting our stride, hitting our peak when we need to. And I like this team. We're coming together. We're really starting to hit it. And guys like Brandon Everidge making a lot of big plays.
Well, to jump right over to Brandon. Brandon, it's a phenomenal football game for you. Was it the defense that put you in position, or did you just go after it?
Well, we had emphasized all week that we had to stop their quarterback. And our offense showed up, and we just came together as a group, and we just played our game.
Absolutely a great performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. All right, Bucks, my man.
All right, fellas.
All right, fellas. 22nd ranked Ole Miss and Tuscaloosa taking on the Crimson Tide, meeting for the 5th.
Team is very pleasing.
Well, I'm not trying to get any personal thing. Just Coach McCarney, I know, was happy for you, even though you know us.
Dan's, you hate that. Someone has to lose, or you hate to be in those situations. Dan's having a great year. They're going to continue to beat teams and win games. He's got a very good football team. And what I like is our players, again, after Texas, people want to talk, are we ready to play? Our guys had a great week of practice. We recognized Iowa State as an excellent football team coming in, number 9 in the country, that we needed to be ready. And hopefully it was fairly obvious we were. And I really like how our team's coming together, gelling. And we may be just hitting our stride at the right time, and hopefully that's the case. I know we have a lot of confidence right now, but I like today how physical and tough we were both sides of the ball as much as anything. That's really pleasing to see us run the football like we are.
Murph,
Coach, congratulations! You had to be ecstatic at halftime.
Sure was. With that kind of a wet field, rain, to go in through this whole football game and we have 1 turnover is really amazing. And, to create the turnovers we did, caught the ball the way we did, making some of the interceptions, really is pleasing.
I thought that everything just went perfectly the first half. They only had 4 yards, but maybe the statement of the whole first half
was getting the pummel at the 1-yard line.
Unbelievable to go out there and stop. They get the ball first and goal at the 1. You think you go out there and you're a little bit disappointed, or, oh, gosh, we got ourselves in this position, and our guys come out and just kept knocking them back and keep them out of the end zone.
Sending them backwards.
Yeah, that was big, to go into half, because, you don't take it for granted. Iowa State has come back on a lot of people in the second half, and we emphasized that all week of what a good second-half football team they were. And, if you give them something there, it gives them life and gets them, in striking distance if they can make a few quick plays in the second half. So, fortunately, we were able to stop them.
I thought you had just a great week's practice, the best of the year, in my opinion. And, of course, Mark Bradley did such a great job, too. We've already talked about him.
We gave Mark a game ball, a special one. Sure, he did a great job all week. And I tell you what, he got us thinking we might need to throw him in there at quarterback some.
Here's another one. 15 times, 15 possessions, no first down.
And amazing. Just the defense. I tell you, and I have to recognize Mike, my brother, Brent, Bobby, Jackie, our coaches. The game plan they had together changed up some of our blitzes. And then our players just tackling and position on the ball, really disciplined. It's fun to watch that, and offensively fun to watch us. And again, in a sloppy situation, go out there and control the line of scrimmage and run and put the ball in. And they threw some nice balls, the fade or the stop and go there to Brandon Jones, for a touchdown, and threw some other nice balls again in a tough situation.
Great throw and catch to Peoples down here.
Exactly.
At the north end of the field.
Tremendous catch by Will. Just a great catch and a nice, and again a good throw by Nate. Put it out there away from the defender, and Will goes and gets it. Those are big.
Another stat Terry just handed me, the leading team in the country on third down conversion for 0 for 12 today.
They did. They came in. We knew they were leading the Big 12 in third down conversions. And, sure, we just really excellent execution, out there in positioning. And I think some of the blitzes, change-ups helped us too.
Was there anything in your plan that especially made you want to hit them early and really get attention? I say that because of the block punt and the safety blitzes there early in the game.
Well, yes, you take a chance when you come after the punt that if you rough them, you give Seneca Wallace another set of downs. But I felt we got them backed up. It's kind of wet. Maybe the center might be a little antsy. Let's come after him and come off the corner and get something. And sure enough, Derek Strait makes a tremendous play and smothers it. And it's just something that we just felt it'd give us a big boost. Getting a spark right off the bat.
Well, that and those safety blitzes by Brandon Everidge, I think, certainly made them realize that the game was on, without question. Yeah,
and that was good pressure, and it was something we hadn't done yet. So we changed up some of our pressure and blitzes, and I think it helped us. Anything from what happened with Brad Smith at Missouri that made you play Seneca Wallace any differently, scheme-wise? I think we prepared all week a little differently in how we really emphasized making sure that as we closed on them in the pocket, or we have a chance to tackle them out in the open field, that we didn't stop our feet. I think Brad got us on our heels a little bit, and we got to where we were so cautious of not missing that we were getting up and trying to get too much in control instead of using our quickness as speed and just firing at them. And I think we worked that more this in this preparation. So I told Mark on Monday, I said, now you're going to get tackled all week. There isn't any of this keep it up, stop, you're too quick. If we're going to tackle you, we're going to have to come after you, So anyhow, I think we're a little more prepared for it. Well, I saw a drill with him over with the defensive line against the first offensive group, working on making sure they were in the right lanes, not overrunning in their penetration upfield and those kind of things. Things like that have to really help. They did. And again, I think the way we prepared all week gave us a good chance to close to them and make plays on them. Aren't you continuing to be encouraged by the running game? Absolutely. And it's I've said it before, it's continually evolving and coming. You have to work it. Again, I think sometimes the general fan out there or someone thinks, well, you just say it or you just put in that run play and it should work. It takes time to understand them, to work them. And we're starting to get a pretty good feel for them, and they're helping us, and they're making a difference, and we're going to continue. Oh, it all fits together. How about Q? Had another one, didn't he? Another great day, just excellent. And again, real proud of our offensive line for being physical up front, and and being able to pound the ball. There was a good stretch of time there, even in the second quarter, and when they knew we were running it, and we just ran it. And, you know, we haven't been able to do that in the past, and I like the way it's coming.
How about injuries? Fagan, I know, went out early.
Yes, I haven't been updated just yet.
It seemed like everybody else made it through, though, don't you think, in pretty good shape?
We seem to be, yes.
Great job. Congratulations again. And,
all right, Coach Murph.
Enjoy the week off.
Coach, let me ask you, that catch that Brandon Jones made, I thought that was a sensation.
A victorious Bob Stoops. And oh, by the way, congratulations for having cable TV and welcome to ESPN News. Neil Everett.
Walter's been in there. They have put up some big numbers. Oklahoma against Iowa State. These weren't supposed to be your father's Cyclones, but they looked a lot like it early. Derek Strait blocking it. Terrence Sims would get on it. Touchdown OU. Sooners up 7-0. A few possessions later, still 7-0. Quentin Griffin.
Well, you see the run here, good blocking, but he makes this happen by himself, Mark. Gets hit at the line of scrimmage, makes a great cut, gets into the end zone, touchdown, Oklahoma.
His story, though, was the vaunted Oklahoma defense against Seneca Wallace. They absolutely bottled him up, Mark.
He had no place to go with the football, and then when he had time to throw the football, here you see the defense just knocks the ball away. Seneca Wallace again, running to his right, trying to make something happen. Here he overthrows the football. Too much air in the football. It's picked off by Oklahoma.
Brandon Everidge getting the pick there and looking for Whitmer on the sideline. There's the back called Strait again. Derek Strait with a terrific play. Seneca was 1 for 12, no yards, couple of picks in the first half, and it just didn't get much better. Quentin Griffin again. Quentin Griffin had to kill him not to get in the end zone because
they let ball in the end zone.
They let Kewan Jones come in and score the touchdown. It was 49-3. Wallace wound up with 15 yards of total offense. I would say the Sooner defense, everybody knows they're great, but they really answered the bell of the challenge of this great quarterback coming in.
Mark mentioned it was the speed of the defense. So many times guys looked open, Mark, and all of a sudden Everidge and Strait with their closing speed, all of a sudden it was an interception.
And not only the defensive special team stepped up today, I think they set the tone by blocking that first punt, and they just rallied from that.
Absolutely.
Iowa State falls to 0-49-2 all time against top 5 opponents. Bob Stoops, I can't imagine how he could have done a better job.
It's just, like we said, hitting our stride, hitting our peak when we need to. And I like this team. We're coming together. We're really starting to hit it. And guys like Brandon Everidge making a lot of big plays.
We had first half offense or lack thereof by the Cyclones, and this is a team, they've been putting up huge numbers all year long against everybody they've seen. They had 4 yards rushing.
That's not acceptable in a game like this. A big game like this, Center State, you're supposed to be able to run the ball. And I always say, Trevor, it always starts with the running attack. You set the stage with a running attack, it opens up the passing.
Yeah, the turnovers killed them, too. I mean, this is not a team that can turn the football over.
I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. It seemed to me that it was more good Oklahoma defense than bad Iowa State offense. They were absolutely outstanding. The Buckeyes unbeaten. Mark, I want to take you back to Oklahoma. They were the cover boys. They were the defense that got hyped, and boy, did they ever live up to it.
Well, they stepped up when they had to, and I think what was key about this was the speed of their defense. When they had to make plays and get to the football, they had the closing speed, and it was evident watching this game that they just had more team speed than Iowa State in this football game. Here you're going to see Seneca Wallace take the shotgun snap. He's going to look deep. He gets pretty good protection, but no, he doesn't. The blitz from the outside gets him. If he steps up in the pocket, he can beat him. Here he is. Hands the ball inside, but the Oklahoma defense just stuffs the play. Again, Seneca Wallace trying to run the option. He pitches the ball outside. But the speed of the Oklahoma defense comes up, and that's what you need. You need speed to stop those plays. But I think what's key in this football game, the most dominant performance I've seen personally by one team in the top 10 versus another team was today. First, I thought it was Miami against Florida earlier this season. Today, it was Oklahoma. They just shut down Iowa State every facet of the game, offense, defense, special teams. Bob Stoops, huge kudos in this game because he had his team prepared coming off of a big game against Texas last week.
You're absolutely right. Another coach who had his team prepared, Coach Cut.
As for the Oklahoma defensive domination of Iowa State, they drew a lot of motivation from all the publicity of Seneca Wallace, who arrived with hype and leaves with not much.
Well, you know, since Bobby Stoops has been there, I'm telling you, I'm more and more impressed with the way he gets his football teams ready for big games, especially defensively. Now, I've been questioning Oklahoma, but now they're becoming my team more and more every day. I tell you what, Kirk, the guys, I agree with you. They do a wonderful job of preparation.
It was too late 2 years ago. It's too late still today. And Oklahoma's not your team. It's about a challenge. Each time Oklahoma faces a challenge, last week it was Texas. How can they match up with all the athletes defense of Texas this week is, boy, you guys have you've had a hard time against athletic cornerbacks. How are you going to defend Seneca Wallace? They love the challenges, and now we're starting to see leadership emerge. This Sooner defense, Brandon Everidge, is kind of replacing what Roy Williams was to the defense a year ago. He is making the plays to put this Sooner defense in a position to win big games.
And meanwhile, here at Air Force,